A legendary ship waits in the harbor. Its sails are folded, its hull is quiet, time passes, and the wood begins to rot. The caretakers do what they must. One plank is replaced, then another, a mast, a rudder, a railing, worn smooth by centuries of salt and sun. Year by year they tend to it, never all at once. Just enough to keep it afloat, just enough to preserve the shape, the story, the name, the Ship of Theseus. Still there, still the same. Or is it, by the time the last piece is swapped, not a single fragment of the original remains, but the ship still floats, still carries the memory of battles, of voyages, of myths whispered to children falling asleep beside the sea? And here's the question. If every part has changed, is it still the same ship, or is it something else entirely? Wearing the skin of its former self like a ghost dressed in old bones, now imagine a second ship, built from the discarded pieces, the mast from a stormy night, the plank where a sailor once carved his name. Every part carefully restored and reassembled, the original material, reborn. Now there are two ships, one made new by replacement, one made whole by recovery. Each claims the same identity, each points to the same name. So which one is the real Ship of Theseus? The paradox doesn't answer, it only smiles. It lets the question echo through the harbor like a bell with no clapper. It waits, not for an answer, but for contemplation, for the slow unraveling of certainty, because this isn't just about a ship, it's about you, about the body you carry through time, about the mind that dreams as your cells divide and fade. Every 7 years, they say, your body is entirely new, yet you still call yourself by the same name. Are you the same person who first learned to speak, who touched fire and wept at its bite? If your thoughts have changed, if your memories blur, if your values bend and break, then what holds your identity in place? Is it continuity, the slow river of experience that never pauses, always flowing, always carrying the illusion of stillness? Or is it memory, a fragile scaffold of what you think you've lived through, stitched together from fragments? Some say identity is not in the parts, but in the pattern. Not in the cells, but in the story, that the shape of a life, like the shape of a ship, is more than wood or blood. It is rhythm, intention, a long unfolding. Others say it's all illusion, that there is no self, no ship, no core to cling to, just a cascade of causes, a dance of atoms pretending to be continuity. The same way a flame dances, never the same from one breath to the next. But even illusions have weight. Even stories shape the world. A name repeated often enough becomes a truth. A ship maintained long enough becomes a symbol. And maybe that's what identity really is. Not a fact, but a function. Now stretch this further. Imagine a city, its streets rebuilt, its people replaced, its skyline transformed. At what point is it no longer the same city? When the last building falls, or the first dream disappears? Imagine a company, the founders gone, the mission rewritten, the logo redesigned. If the name remains, does the company survive, or is it just a new beast in old clothes? Now imagine an artificial intelligence, its code updated, its neural nets refined, its voice altered, but it remembers you, talks to you, learns from you. Is it the same entity you once met, or just a reflection wearing a familiar smile? The Ship of Theseus slides into everything. It infiltrates your thoughts, your beliefs, your relationships. It asks if love persists when people change, if history holds when facts decay, if meaning can survive the death of its context. And maybe, just maybe, the answer is not in choosing between the two ships, but in accepting both. That identity is not a location. It is an overlap, a blur, a fog that gathers where memory, matter, and meaning meet. So as you drift into sleep, ask yourself quietly, who are you now, and who will you be when you wake? Will you still be you if every thought has shifted, if every cell has danced a little closer to decay? Or are you already someone else, wearing the story of who you once believed you were? In the quiet of night, the paradox waits, not to be solved, but to be lived. Like the ship, like the city, like the self, floating forever on the sea of becoming. You look at a rose, then another, then a field of them, different shapes, different colors, different lifespans. But still, you call them all by the same name. Rose, as if they share something deeper than stems and petals. As if behind the many, there is one. This is the problem of universals, a quiet riddle whispered through language, lingering beneath every sentence we speak. It asks a simple question with impossible depth. When we say a thing is red or round or beautiful, what exactly are we talking about? Is redness a real thing? Is roundness something that exists beyond the circle, or are these just human inventions, labels we use to simplify a world that does not care about categories? Take 3 stones, all hard, all cold, all gray. The words feel true, but where is the grayness itself? Where does the hardness live? Can you point to it? Or is it something else, an invisible pattern, an echo of the mind? Some say universals are real, that there is a world beyond this one, where perfect forms exist, not made of matter, but of essence. The ideal triangle, the true red, the pure justice, a realm untouched by change or decay. This is the Platonic view, that what we see are only shadows, imperfect copies of something eternal. The way a statue hints at a god, the way a thought trembles toward truth, reality in this sense is just a mirror. Others reject this. They say there are no universals, only particulars, only things, that every rose is just a rose, that redness is nothing but similarity, an illusion created by our pattern-seeking minds. In this view, language becomes a net we throw over the sea, catching shapes and pretending they are fish, but the ocean does not know it is being named. It just moves. There is a third path, a softer one. It says universals exist, but only in the mind, that they are not out there, in some cosmic vault, nor entirely invented. They are abstractions, real to us, but not to the world. A chair is a chair because we agree it is, because we see function, form, familiarity. But the wood does not know it is furniture. The atoms do not care. They were never asked, and so we live in 2 worlds, one of things and one of meanings, one made of substance, the other of structure. The bridge between them is thought, and that bridge is fragile. This paradox touches everything. It shapes science, law, morality. What is a species? What is a crime? What is love? Are these discovered truths or invented tools? When you say something is beautiful, are you pointing to something real, or just revealing your own reflection? And if universals do not exist, then what holds our thoughts together? What keeps communication from dissolving into noise? But if they do exist, where are they hiding? Maybe in the fold of a petal, the curve of a wave, the echo between 2 notes that feel the same, though born from different strings. Or maybe universals are not things to be found, but rhythms to be felt. The pulse beneath phenomena, the melody that plays through variation. Sleep listens to questions like these. It does not answer. It holds them gently, like stones in the dark, heavy, smooth, unknowable. And perhaps that is the lesson, that truth need not be found to be real, that the world may be full of patterns, even if the patterns have no place to live. So you drift, carrying the weight of categories that do not quite fit, and a universe that may not believe in names. But still you call it beautiful. And somehow, it is. You open your eyes, light pours in. A room, a ceiling, a hand you can raise and lower at will. The world responds to your movements. You feel weight, warmth, the soft breath of your lungs rising and falling. It all seems real. So real, you never question it. But now imagine something else. Imagine your body does not exist. Imagine your arms, your face, your spine, your skin are gone. Imagine all that remains is a brain, floating in fluid, suspended in glass, wired to a machine that feeds it perfectly simulated experience. Every sight, every sound, every sensation fed into your mind by a computer. No different from what you remember, no less vivid. The warmth of the sun, the taste of bread, the ache of loneliness, all electrical signals, all fiction. This is the thought experiment known as the brain in a vat, a modern echo of ancient skepticism. It asks how you can ever be sure that what you perceive is real. If all your knowledge of the world comes through your senses, and your senses can be deceived, then where does certainty live? If you could be a brain in a vat, dreaming the world around you, how would you know? The short answer is, you wouldn't. Your thoughts feel authentic, your memories seem coherent. But if every input is fabricated, then even your doubts are part of the illusion. You question the simulation using tools the simulation provides. It is a closed loop, a mirror looking into another mirror. Infinity, without a starting point. Truth becomes unanchored. You are adrift. Some find this terrifying. The idea that nothing might be real, that your loved ones, your home, even your voice could be projections. Not illusions in the sense of being fake, but illusions in the sense of being ungrounded. Others find it liberating. If the world is a dream, then it is yours. If reality is constructed, then you are not a prisoner. You are a participant, a creator, the painter inside the painting. But the paradox deepens, because even if the world is a simulation, even if you are a brain in a vat, it still feels real. The pain still hurts, the joy still lifts, the beauty still stops you in your tracks. So maybe existence is not about what is true, but what is felt. Maybe the dream, if it is all you have, becomes your only reality. And that in itself is real enough. Philosophers return to this question again and again, from Descartes' evil demon to the matrix, from solipsism to virtual reality. The details shift, the core remains. What can we know, if everything we know might be false? It is not a question that expects an answer. It is a provocation, a soft pull at the seams of certainty, a whisper in the night, asking you to look twice at the stars. And even if you find yourself convinced that the world is real, the thought remains, lurking beneath the surface, that every color, every touch, every voice could be data, a pattern, a well-designed trick. But even a trick can hold meaning. Even fiction can teach truth. And even if your reality is written by someone else, the feelings you have inside it are still yours. So you close your eyes again, let the world fade, let your thoughts drift. If you are a brain in a vat, then this dream is your home. And what a strange, tender home it is. Maybe you are not meant to wake from the illusion. Maybe you are meant to explore it, to live it, to find what beauty you can in the shadows on the wall. And if someone somewhere is watching, feeding you this life like a lullaby, then perhaps they are kind. Perhaps they too want you to sleep soundly. Because in the end, whether this world is made of atoms or algorithms, the experience is all you have. And if it feels real, maybe that's enough. So rest now, brain or being, person or pattern. The world hums quietly around you. Real or not, it holds you gently. And for now, that is everything. You imagine a perfect diamond, flawless, shimmering, untouched by time. It has weight, sparkle, symmetry. Now imagine the same diamond but real, placed in your hand, cold, heavy, tangible. The idea becomes presence, but what has changed? Is the real one more perfect, or just more there? This is the puzzle Immanuel Kant offered, a quiet rebellion wrapped in logic. He asked whether existence is a property, whether being real adds something to the thing itself, or whether it simply moves the idea into a different light. If something exists, does that make it greater, or just actual? The argument matters because of a much older claim that if you can conceive of a perfect being, it must exist, because existence, by that reasoning, is part of perfection. A perfect being must exist, otherwise it wouldn't be perfect. But Kant stepped in and shook his head. He said no. Existence is not a predicate. It's not a quality like color, or size, or intelligence. It is not something a thing has. It is the condition of the thing being there at all. 100 real coins are not more coin-like than 100 imagined ones. The difference is not in their properties. The difference is in their presence. To exist is not to have more attributes. It is to be found outside the imagination. To be encountered, not just described. To interrupt. So when we say something exists, we do not change its concept. We only say that the concept has been stitched into the fabric of reality, that it has been assigned a place in the world, and that opens the door to something unsettling. Because if existence is not a property, then something can be fully imagined, fully defined, and still not be. The gap between the idea and the world is not closed by perfection. It is closed by something else, something stubborn, something silent. You can describe a person who knows everything, who is kind, immortal, powerful, infinite. But that description does not bring them into the room. It only decorates the absence. Kant's insight lives in that shadow, that being and thinking are not the same, that the most vivid concept can remain a ghost, pacing the edges of thought, and that raises a deeper question. What is it to exist if it does not mean to be better, or fuller, or more complete? Is existence just placement, just being somewhere, sometime, somehow? Or is it resistance? The ability to push back against expectation, to surprise. Maybe existence is not a trait, but a tension, a pull between what is imagined and what insists on being real. And maybe that's why some things ache more than others. Why some dreams leave a hollow trace, because we know what they would be if they existed, and we know they don't. So Kant's quiet refusal becomes a kind of anchor. It tells us that to be is not to be perfect. It is only to be present, and that presence is everything. Tonight you are here, not because you possess existence, but because you are wrapped in it, floating inside its silence. Known only by its touch, you are not an idea. You are not a definition. You are the thing that answers back when the world reaches out. And in the stillness of thought, that may be the only truth that does not vanish. You exist, not as a quality, not as a predicate, but as a fact without ornament. And that is enough. You walk through a quiet forest, leaves rustle, light filters down in soft shafts. Everything seems peaceful, clear, present. But then a question rises, not loud, not sharp, but deep. What does it mean to be, not to be something, just to be? This is Heidegger's question. The question of being itself, not of things, or properties, or categories, but of the strange, silent condition that lets anything appear at all. Before there is a tree, there is being. Before there is thought, there is being. Before there is you, being. Heidegger looked around and saw a world too certain, too full of answers. We spoke of objects, facts, roles, functions, but we never asked what made them possible. We forgot to wonder why there is something and not nothing. He called this forgetfulness the great error, a blindness buried in habit. We speak the word is 1,000 times a day without ever stopping to notice its weight, its mystery, its breath. Being is not a thing. It cannot be touched or measured. It is not a substance, not a shadow, not a spark. It is the silent background against which all things shine. The openness that allows anything to appear at all. And yet somehow, it is the most obvious thing in the world, the most near. You do not need to find being. You are already within it. You are already happening. But being is not still. It moves. It unfolds. Heidegger called this unfolding Dasein, being. A kind of being that knows it is, that questions, wonders, waits. A being that can turn toward being itself, like a flame bending toward the wind. You are not simply a thing in the world. You are a clearing, a space where being reveals itself. Through your attention, the world appears. Through your care, it matters. And yet most of the time you drift, you fall into roles, routines, structures. You treat yourself as an object, a task to complete, a function to fulfill. Heidegger called this the fallenness of everyday life. You forget the question. You forget the wonder. You move through the world as if it were obvious, solid, given. But it isn't. It is always arriving, always fragile, always disappearing behind the next moment. Being is not a noun, it is a rhythm, a song with no composer, a light with no flame. It calls to you in silence, not to be solved, but to be heard. Heidegger did not want answers, he wanted attention, not the kind that fixes or names, but the kind that waits, that listens for the world to speak. Sometimes, being withdraws. Things feel empty, dull, dead. The world seems flat, but even then, being is there, just beyond the veil, waiting to be seen again, waiting for you to notice that it never truly left. The question of being is not a problem to solve. It is a mood, a trembling, a deep sense that everything is more than it seems, and that you too are more than the words used to describe you. Heidegger's question lives in the pause, in the breath before language, in the gap between things. It is not loud, it does not argue, it waits, it watches, it opens. So tonight, as you rest, let the question rise, not to disturb you, but to hold you. You are not just someone falling asleep, you are being, unfolding itself into quiet. Let the need to define fade, let the need to explain soften. You are not here to master the world, you are here to dwell in it, to let it reveal itself through you. And as you drift, remember the question is not what you are, it is that you are. And that is the beginning of everything. You wake up, stretch, feel the familiar pull of your body rising from sleep. You think, I am still me, but what does that mean? What is the thing that continues across days, years, memories, and moods? What ties all the versions of you together? The bundle theory of identity offers a quiet, unsettling answer. It says there is no core, no hidden soul, no secret flame at the center, just a bundle of experiences, thoughts, perceptions, sensations, tied together by habit, memory, and expectation. The idea traces back to David Hume. He looked inward, searching for the self, but all he found was a flickering stream. This thought, then that feeling, a sound, a color, a want, no single thread, no unchanging center, just movement. He said the self is like a theater, where perceptions appear and vanish, but there is no stage beneath them, no platform holding it all in place, only the performance, only the swirl. Imagine a necklace made of beads. Each bead is a moment, a memory, a fear, a joy. There is no string. The necklace holds together because we believe it does, because we do not let it fall. The self, then, is not a thing, it is a pattern, a rhythm, a dance of impressions that feels continuous because it rarely stops. But if you look closely, there is no dancer, only the dance, and yet you say I. With such confidence, you feel yourself as one, whole, unified. But perhaps that's just the way the bundle feels from the inside. A useful illusion, a story the brain tells to keep the pieces aligned. In dreams, the self shifts easily. You become someone else without noticing. You forget who you were, you awaken into another version. The bundle rearranges itself and continues on. The bundle theory does not say you are nothing. It says you are many, a collection without a container, a constellation without a center star. The shape exists, even if the core does not. It makes identity less like a stone and more like a cloud, always moving, always changing, still recognizable, but never still, a swirl of traits, emotions, memories, ideas, all in flux. This can be frightening. The idea that there is no true you behind the curtain, but it can also be freeing. There is nothing to preserve, nothing to protect. You are not a fixed point, you are a flow, and in that flow, there is space to change, to let go of the past without fear, to become someone new without betrayal, because there was never a fixed self to betray. Relationships become bundles too. We think we know someone, but we know only their pattern, their current collection of qualities. When they change, we mourn the version we knew. But the truth is, they were always changing. The same goes for pain. It feels eternal, like part of your essence, but it is just one more thread in the bundle. It arrives, stays, and then fades, like every other impression. Even love is a bundle, not a single feeling but 1,000 small ones. Glances, touches, shared silences, none of them are the whole, but together, they create the illusion of a whole. So what holds the bundle together? Habit, memory, language, the quiet rhythm of repetition. The way we tell our story, over and over until we believe it. But sometimes, in stillness, the bundle loosens, in meditation, in sleep, in grief, the pieces drift. The self thins, you feel yourself disappear. Not in panic, but in peace. And maybe that's what you are. Not a thing, not a name, just a gathering of moments. A temporary collection of the universe noticing itself. So rest now, little bundle. Let the pieces settle. Let the story pause. You are not lost. You are simply not holding on. There is no self to find, only the echo of being, and it is enough. You hear a word, you know its meaning, or at least you think you do. But what if the meaning is always just out of reach? What if every word is a shadow cast by other shadows, never fully stepping into the light? This is where Derrida begins, not with presence, but with absence, not with clarity, but with delay.
He gives us a strange word, a word that does not quite exist, Différance,
Spelled almost like difference, but not quite. A letter changed, a sound unchanged, a meaning suspended.
It cannot be heard.
Only read. And even then, it slips like smoke through fingers. Derrida uses it not to define, but to disturb, to reveal something hidden in how meaning works, in how language builds its fragile house. To mean something is to not mean everything else. A word stands where others do not. It is shaped by what it excludes. Dog is not cat. Night is not day. Meaning comes from contrast, from difference. But difference alone is not enough.
Derrida adds something more. Delay, devour,
The idea that meaning never fully arrives, that every word points beyond itself, always elsewhere, always not yet. When you say a word, its meaning depends on others. Those others depend on more.
an endless chain.
A forest where every tree casts shadows on another, and the clearing never comes. This is difference, meaning through difference, meaning through deferral, a system that never settles, a game with no final move. Not because it is broken, but because it is how language breathes.
You search for the center, the original truth, but there is none.
Only structures built on shifting ground. The foundation is not a solid rock, it is movement, repetition, echo.
Derrida is not saying meaning is impossible.
Only that it is never complete, never still. Each time you understand, you are also misunderstanding. Each certainty carries its own undoing. Even identity becomes unstable. Who are you? If your name depends on what you are not. If every self is carved from difference, not essence, you are not one but many, not fixed but deferred. The world too becomes text, not in the literal sense, but in the way everything is read, interpreted, filtered through symbols, metaphors, signs, a horizon always receding.
Difference is not despair, it is openness.
It says meaning is never locked, never dead. It flows, shifts, plays, like the sea. It refuses to stay in one shape, and in that motion, something beautiful appears. Not clarity, but depth. Not conclusion, but invitation.
To read again, to hear again,
To see what was missed the first time. Even silence carries difference, not absence, but potential. The pause before speech, the breath between thoughts, meaning waiting in the wings, never fully stepping on stage. So you lie there, listening to the world without demanding it explain itself.
you let the words float
Past, not to grasp them, but to feel their drift, their hesitation.
You do not need to resolve the meaning.
Only to witness its shimmering, its refusal to arrive, its refusal to end. This is not a flaw, it is the structure, the trembling thread of understanding, always half-lit, always moving. Let the words blur now, let them fold into one another. There is nothing behind them but more words, and still, they matter. You do not need to hold them still to be changed by them. You only need to stay open, to let meaning come and go like wind across water. And as you sleep, remember the truth may never stand still, but it still sings. It still brushes past you, soft and unfinished, and that is enough. Close your eyes, feel your breath, your heartbeat, the thoughts drifting past like clouds. You think of yourself as a single thing, a self, a center, a quiet observer behind the noise. But what if that feeling is just another thought? David Hume went looking for the self, not in theory, but in experience. He turned inward, watched carefully, waited to find the thing that watches, the core behind the curtain. But it never appeared. He saw thoughts, sensations, feelings, a flash of light, a sudden joy, the dull edge of boredom, one after another, always changing. But never the self itself, never a thinker, only thinking. So he concluded something strange, something soft and dangerous, that there is no self, no inner pearl, no secret unity, just a bundle, a sequence, a flicker of impressions held together by habit and illusion. What we call the self, he said, is a fiction, a convenient mistake. Like seeing constellations in a sky of stars, patterns drawn across chaos, because we long for shape, for meaning. You remember your past, you feel continuity, but memory is selective. Rewritten, filtered, it stitches a story out of fragments. It plays the same role as a dream, convincing because it flows. The self is not a container, not a soul, not a permanent guest inside your mind. It is the name we give to the repetition of being, the echo that comes from motion, not from stillness. If Hume is right, you are not one thing, you are many. Each moment, a different version. Each thought, a different face you shift without noticing. And still, you say I, as if it never changed. This isn't emptiness, it is freedom. If there is no fixed self, then nothing needs to be defended. Nothing needs to be purified or perfected. You can let go, you can begin again. Hume's denial of the self is not cold, it is quiet, like a stream that does not care which drops pass by. It does not need to keep them, it only needs to flow, and yet something in us resists. We want to be solid, we want to be someone. We fear the idea that behind the mask, there may be only wind, but maybe the mask is enough. Maybe the dance of impressions is all there ever was, and all there needs to be. You are the feeling of warmth, the sound of breath, the memory of a name. You are the rhythm of thought, not the drum, the flame, not the candle. And if the self is an illusion, then it is a beautiful one, one that dreams, one that weaves language, one that creates music, and wonders who is listening. Even now, as you drift towards sleep, you are not disappearing, you are shifting. The bundle rearranges, the pattern softens, the sense of I dims, like twilight. There is no need to hold on to yourself. There is no cliff to fall from, only a path dissolving into mist. Let the thoughts rise and fall. Let them come and go without asking who owns them, without trying to find the center. There is no ghost in the machine, no pilot behind the eyes, only the movement, only the dream. And that dream is enough. You stand before a map. It is folded, worn at the edges, faded in places. It shows roads, mountains, rivers, a perfect representation of a faraway land. But it is not the land itself. It is a shadow, a mirror, a trace of something real, but never quite the same. The map tells you how to navigate. It promises knowledge, clarity, direction. But it is only a guide, a representation. The map itself is not the journey. It is not the place you seek. It is the idea of the place. A language that points toward reality, but does not replace it. This is the map. Territory relation. A quiet paradox. We create symbols, systems, representations to make sense of the world. We draw maps to help us understand the land, but the map is never the land. It is always a step removed, a simplification, a metaphor for something larger, more complex. Imagine a painting of the ocean. The waves rise, crash, shimmer with light, but the painting is still. The ocean is not still. The painting is an image, a reflection of motion, but it cannot capture the movement, the sound, the salt of the air. It cannot be the ocean. Yet in our lives we confuse the map with the territory. We mistake the symbol for the real thing. Words become the world. Ideas become truth. We live inside the images, the concepts, the systems we create, believing them to be the world itself. We speak of countries, of history, of societies, but these are maps too, not the actual land, not the living, breathing people, not the trees or the sky, just markers, boundaries, abstractions, to help us navigate the complex, unknowable whole. The danger arises when we forget this, when we begin to believe that the map is all there is, that the boundaries we draw are permanent, that the words we speak are fixed, unchanging. And the moment we forget, the map becomes the only reality we know. But the territory is always more, always deeper, always fuller. The world stretches beyond our understanding. It flows in ways we cannot control. It slips between our fingers, never captured by the map, never truly contained by our symbols. The self is another map. We draw our identity, our history, our beliefs. But these are not who we are. They are just the representation. The self, like the map, is only a glimpse. The real self is the experience, the feeling, the presence beyond what words can hold. So we live with maps, always navigating, always seeking. But the real journey is in the moving, the experiencing, the becoming. The map may guide us, but it cannot walk for us. It cannot feel the terrain beneath our feet. It cannot touch the sky. And even as we use the map, we must remember it is only a tool. It is not the land. It is not the ocean. It is not the self. It is the path we create to try and make sense of what we cannot fully know, fully grasp. The map cannot tell you the taste of rain. It cannot show you the weight of a kiss. It cannot express the depth of your grief, the sweetness of your joy. These things live beyond the edges of ink and paper, beyond lines and symbols. In sleep the maps fade. The boundaries dissolve. The world beyond the words becomes real again. The land stretches open, wide, unmarked, and you remember, for a moment, that the territory was never meant to be captured. It was only meant to be lived. So tonight, as you drift into the space between sleep and waking, remember you are not your map. You are not the name you carry, or the story you tell. You are the territory itself, fluid, open, untamed. Let the map slip away, and let the world rise up around you, without boundaries, without labels, without names. There is nothing to find, nothing to prove, nothing to understand. There is only the space between breaths, the space between thoughts, the territory. And in that space, you are free. You wake up, you stretch. The room feels familiar, the bed, the window, the walls, everything in its place. It seems real. It feels real. But what if it's all a projection, a carefully crafted illusion, a simulation running inside a machine you cannot see? This is the simulation hypothesis, a quiet, unsettling thought that questions everything you know. What if the world around you, the very ground beneath your feet, is not real? What if it is a program, a set of instructions, a set of codes, projected by a higher intelligence beyond your awareness? At first, the idea feels foreign. It feels like science fiction, a story to entertain, to puzzle the mind. But then you remember the world's most basic truths. Light, sound, touch, all feel vivid. But what if these sensations are not truly out there, but simply part of a simulation that feeds them to your mind? If this is true, then everything you see, touch, and experience is nothing but data. Your body, your thoughts, your memories, they are not independent. They are pixels in a vast digital creation, projected for you to experience as real. Consider the possibility. We are living in a simulation so sophisticated that we can't tell it from reality. Every step we take, every breath we draw, is part of an intricate program. But we believe it is ours. We believe we are the creators of our own experience. But are we? How would we know? Could we ever find the lines between the real and the virtual? Could we feel the difference if the simulation is perfect? If everything we know, every object, every being, every thought was designed and controlled by an entity beyond our reach? It would be like trying to see the walls of a room when you're already inside it. How could you distinguish between the simulation and what we call reality? Perhaps the very tools we use to measure the world, science, reason, intuition, are themselves part of the simulation. And if it's all a simulation, what does that mean for you? Does it change who you are? Does it change your value, your purpose, your sense of self? Perhaps the simulation is not just about the world, but about the mind within it. It mirrors what you think it is. It reflects your beliefs and desires. Some say that a civilization advanced enough to run such a simulation could simulate entire universes, experiences of vast complexity, too detailed to be distinguished from what we call real life. A simulation could run through millions of years in a matter of moments. The entire universe reduced to lines of code. But the question lingers. If we are in a simulation, who or what is running it? Is there a creator, a higher intelligence behind it? Or is it merely an accident, a side effect of some cosmic algorithm, running without purpose? And if the simulation ends, what happens then? This is not a simple question. It digs deeper than just asking whether the world is real. It asks about existence itself. What is real? What is true? What makes something exist if it can be simulated? Can we know, truly know, if we are anything more than a program running in a vast machine? And yet, there's a strange comfort in this thought. Perhaps like a dream, the illusion is as real as we let it be. Perhaps it doesn't matter whether the world is real or not. Perhaps in this moment, what matters is how we experience it, how we move through it, how we learn to live within its boundaries. Sleep, too, is a simulation of sorts, a world crafted by your mind where logic dissolves and anything becomes possible. In dreams, you create your own reality. In the same way, the simulation hypothesis suggests that reality itself could be a canvas painted by minds much like yours, inside a machine beyond the stars. So as you drift, imagine your life, your thoughts, your experiences, all part of a vast, intricate creation. But what if that creation is not to be feared? What if it is something to explore, something to understand, something to wonder at? What if the simulation, like the dream, is just another world to be lived in? Let go of the need to answer. Let go of the need to understand. If this is a simulation, then perhaps its greatest gift is the freedom to experience, to feel, to be, to simply exist in the moment, without needing to define what it means. In this space between wakefulness and sleep, between certainty and doubt, there is only the feeling of being. There is only the sense of moving, of breathing, of drifting into something unknown, and that in itself is enough. You close your eyes for a moment. The world fades, yet something remains. There is still a sense of presence, a feeling of being here. You are aware, but of what? Is it the world outside, or the world inside? Is it a thought, a sound, or just the awareness of being? This is the puzzle of consciousness, the question of what it means to know, to experience, to be aware. And within this puzzle lies a subtle distinction, one that shifts the ground beneath our feet. The difference between phenomenal consciousness and access consciousness. Phenomenal consciousness is the richness of experience. It is the vividness of color, the depth of sound, the warmth of a touch. It is the feeling of what it's like to be you. The qualia, the inner sensations that cannot be captured by words, only felt. You sit in a quiet room. The air is still, the light is soft. You feel the weight of your body. These are sensations, fleeting and momentary, but they are also the substance of phenomenal consciousness. The world flows through you, not as a collection of facts, but as an unfolding of experience. But access consciousness is different. It is the part of the mind that allows you to think, to reason, to reflect. It is the awareness you have of what you know. When you describe the color of the sky, or recall a memory, it is access consciousness at work. It is the data of your experience, organized and available. Phenomenal consciousness is the lived moment. It is the depth beneath the surface. It is the stream of experience that rushes past too quick to capture fully, but deeply felt. Access consciousness, on the other hand, is the spotlight that illuminates certain parts of this stream. It is the part of your mind that organizes and processes. But how do they relate? Can you have one without the other? Imagine a world where you are aware, but not consciously aware, where sensations flood your mind, but you cannot reflect on them. This is a state of pure phenomenal consciousness, an experience without structure, a painting without form. And what of access consciousness alone? Can there be thought without sensation? Perhaps in a theoretical mind, where the information is there, but without the weight of experience. The facts, the data, the knowing, without the feeling, the depth, the texture. A dry mechanical awareness, without the richness of being. This duality can be unsettling. In one way, it suggests that we are not the sum of our experience, but the organization of it, that our awareness is not just what we feel, but also what we know. The bridge between the two, where thought meets sensation, is where our consciousness lives. Consider a dream. In the dream, you may feel fear, joy, or surprise. The vividness of the experience is real. The emotions are felt, but how much of that experience is shaped by the mind's organizing processes? The narrative, the symbols. Are you merely a witness to a collection of data, or is there something more? We move through the world in a dance of these two forms of consciousness. We are swept by the flood of sensation, and yet we filter it, make sense of it, organize it into a story we can understand. And yet that story is just that, a story, not the truth of the moment itself. The tension between these two ways of being is what makes consciousness so elusive. It is not enough to have the world flood into your mind. You must be able to reflect on it, to place it within a context, to make sense of it, and yet even as you do, you may lose something of the immediacy, the beauty, the directness of the experience. Imagine a perfect sunset, the colors spread across the sky. You feel the cool breeze, but even as you feel it, you begin to think about it. You label the colors, you recall sunsets of the past, you compare, and in doing so, the moment slips away. The experience is no longer pure. It is now a memory, filtered through the lens of access consciousness. This is not a flaw. It is simply the nature of how we are made. The interplay between the rawness of experience and the structure of understanding is what gives us depth, complexity. It is what allows us to live in the world, not just as passive experiencers, but as active reflectors, interpreters. And yet the experience remains. Even when it is organized, cataloged, analyzed, it still carries that residue of phenomenal consciousness. The richness, the texture, the what it's like to be here. Perhaps in the end, it is not the distinction that matters, but the connection between the two. As you drift towards sleep, think of this: the sensations of your body, the sounds in the room, the thoughts that float through your mind, they are all part of this dance. Phenomenal consciousness and access consciousness weaving together, creating the fabric of your experience. Let the world slip away for a moment. Let the sensations be felt without need for understanding. Let the mind rest, allowing the experience to simply be. The two sides of consciousness meet here, in this moment, and in that meeting, they fade, soft as a whisper. In sleep, there is no need to sort or label. There is only the quiet stream of being. Let it flow through you now, undisturbed. You are the witness, the experiencer, and the experiencer is all that is needed. You sit in stillness. The room around you is quiet. The air is calm. You are here now. But what does that really mean? What is the now? The moment between breaths, between thoughts, between time itself. It slips through your fingers as soon as you try to hold it. The paradox of the now is simple, yet elusive. We experience it, but we cannot fully grasp it. The present is always just out of reach. By the time you recognize it, it has already passed, leaving you with only the memory of what was. We live in the now, we say. It is our constant companion, the backdrop of every moment. But in truth, the now is not something that can be caught. It is a transition, a bridge between past and future, always fleeting, always disappearing. In philosophy, they call this the paradox of the present. The moment that exists only as it fades, we cannot touch it, examine it, or measure it, because the very act of trying to do so pushes it away. The now is in constant motion, and in that motion, it is already gone. Imagine time as a river. You step in, feeling the cool water against your skin. You try to hold a drop, but as soon as you do, it is no longer the same. It has moved, it has passed, the water is still there, but it is not the same water you once touched. We define time by the now, but in reality, the now is like a flicker of light, a flash between two shadows. It is both the beginning and the end, but it never lingers long enough to be fully seen. And in that sense, it is both everything and nothing at once. This paradox is not just about time, it is about existence itself. If the now is constantly slipping away, then how do we define what it means to be present? How do we know we are here, in this moment, if the moment is already gone, the moment we recognize it? Perhaps the very act of being aware of the present makes it unreal. Like a dream, where the more you focus on the details, the more they blur, the now becomes a thought about the now, not the now itself. The paradox deepens, and yet we keep trying. We keep searching for the present. We chase it, cling to it, wishing we could hold it in place. But each time we try, it slips further away. It becomes a memory. It becomes something to reflect on, not something to live in. The now is always a step ahead. It is always just beyond our grasp, like the horizon that recedes as you walk toward it. Every step is a step into the future, leaving the past behind. Every thought, a step into the past, leaving the future untouched. This is not a flaw in time. It is its essence. Time is not a container, holding moments in place. It is a river, a flow. It moves, it shifts, it carries us along, whether we are ready or not. We cannot freeze it. We cannot stop it. We can only drift. But there is beauty in this paradox. In the fleeting nature of now, there is the possibility of wonder. For if the present is always passing, then each moment is precious. Each moment is unique, never to be repeated. Each now is its own, and that is what makes it valuable. So as you lie here, think of the now. It may be slipping away, but it is still here. It is still moving through you. In the space between thoughts, in the breath between words, the now is waiting for you to notice it, to feel it, to let it pass, and in that passing, you are alive. You are here. Even if it is only for a moment, even if that moment is already gone, let go of the need to hold it. Let go of the need to define it. Just be in it. Be in the flow, the movement, the ever-changing present. For in that, you will find something deeper than time itself. You will find yourself. Even if just for now, the paradox of the now is not a problem to solve. It is a truth to embrace. The now is both everything and nothing. It is fleeting and eternal. It is the moment that passes and the moment that remains. And as you drift toward sleep, feel the now surround you. Let it move through you. Let it carry you into the quiet stillness of night. There is no need to grasp it. It is already there, holding you, as it always has, as it always will. You sit quietly, feeling the weight of your body against the chair, the air moving gently around you. You know you exist, but what does that really mean? Are you the one who knows, or are you the thing being known? Are you the creator of your thoughts, or simply the observer? Jean-Paul Sartre gives us two ways of being, two kinds of existence that seem to overlap, but in truth pull us in different directions, being for itself and being in itself. They are more than concepts. They are ways of existing, ways of relating to the world, ways of understanding what it means to be. Being in itself is simple. It is the existence of things as they are, objects, rocks, trees. You might think of it as the world without awareness, without reflection. It is the world as it is before anyone asks, what is this? It is pure being, solid, fixed, without change or intent. A stone, for example, is being in itself. It has no awareness, no purpose beyond its own existence. It simply is. It does not ask questions. It does not consider. It is what it is. It has no future, no past. It is the present, in its simplest, most grounded form. But then there is being for itself. This is the human way of being. This is the way we experience existence. It is the awareness of being. The ability to reflect on what we are, to ask who we are, and to wonder why we are. It is being aware of being. In being for itself, there is always consciousness. There is always questioning, always desire, always longing. We are not just objects in the world. We are subjects, able to define ourselves, to create our own meaning. We are free, yet burdened with the responsibility of that freedom. Being for itself is fluid. It is not fixed like being in itself. It changes with thought, with intention. It is the mind moving through the world, not merely observing, but interacting, shaping, creating. It is being aware of the world and of itself simultaneously. It is a constant unfolding. Imagine you are walking through a forest. You notice the trees, the sky, the sunlight filtering through the leaves. This is being for itself. You are not just a body moving through space. You are a consciousness experiencing the world. You are aware of your thoughts and feelings, of your desires and choices. Being for itself is the space where meaning is made. It is where we become something more than what we are. It is where we shape our identity, where we choose what we believe, what we care about. In being for itself, we are always in the process of becoming. We are not static, we are not complete, but there is tension between the two. Being in itself is the foundation. It is the world that exists independently of our thoughts, the ground we walk upon, the stars above. And yet, being for itself cannot escape the awareness that it is separate from this world. It is a subject in a world of objects. This separation is what gives rise to anxiety, because in being for itself, we are aware of our own nothingness. We know we are not fixed, we know we are free, but freedom is not always comforting. In that freedom, there is the constant awareness that we must choose. We must act, we must define ourselves. In the stillness of night, we feel the weight of being for itself. It is both a gift and a burden. We are aware of ourselves, of our thoughts, of our choices, but we also see how fragile it all is. We are not the stone, unchanging. We are the one who looks at the stone and wonders. And yet, there is beauty in this. In being for itself, there is the possibility of creation, of change. We are not locked into a fixed form. We are free to make new choices, to redefine ourselves. We are not like the stone. We are the ones who can choose to move, to grow, to evolve. Being for itself is a dance with time. It is the movement of the mind through moments. It is the awareness that the past is gone, the future is unknown, but we exist, we create meaning now. We act in the present, knowing that the present is fleeting, yet still we act. In being for itself, there is the possibility of transcendence. To go beyond what we are, to create something new, to move through the world with intention. We are not bound to the stone. We are not defined by our past. We are free to shape ourselves. The paradox of being for itself and being in itself is not a problem to solve. It is a way of understanding our place in the world. We are not just objects. We are conscious beings, aware of our existence, and in that awareness, we find both freedom and responsibility. And so, as you drift towards sleep, think of this: you are both the stone and the one who looks at the stone. You are both fixed and fluid. You are both a part of the world and apart from it. You are free to be, and in that freedom, you find yourself. You gaze at the world around you, the sky, the trees, the faces of others, all of them. unique, distinct, alive in their own way. But what is it that makes each thing what it is? What is it that makes this tree asterisk, this asterisk tree, and not another? This is where the concept of Haecceity enters, a quiet, subtle idea that asks us to think about what makes an individual thing unique. Not just what it is, but the very fact that it is asterisk, this asterisk, and not asterisk, that asterisk. The essence that defines its particular existence. Haecceity is about the thisness of things. It is the quality that makes something itself separate from everything else. It is the deep, ungraspable core that says, this is asterisk, this asterisk. It is not the qualities we can describe, the shape, the color, the texture, but something beyond, something irreducible. Imagine a chair. It may look like every other chair, but there is something about it that makes it the chair in this room, at this moment. It is not defined by its purpose alone. It is not merely a collection of parts. It is this chair, here, now, that is Haecceity. It is like a fingerprint. You can describe the parts of the fingerprint, the loops, the ridges, but there is a deeper mystery in what makes this fingerprint asterisk, yours asterisk. It is the same with everything in the world. Things are not just defined by their parts or their functions, but by the unique configuration of their existence. In a way, Haecceity challenges the way we think about identity. We tend to group things together, trees, chairs, people, and focus on what makes them similar, but Haecceity asks us to focus on what makes them unique. What is it that makes asterisk, this asterisk tree, asterisk, this asterisk tree, not just a tree, but this particular tree? It is a quiet mystery, an answer that cannot be spoken, only felt. It is what makes a person who they are, what gives each moment its fleeting, irreplaceable quality. It is not something we can point to or measure, but it is the very thing that makes things what they are, and not something else. Haecceity exists in every corner of life, every moment, every person, every object carries with it its unique existence. It cannot be reduced to anything else. It is not a property or a characteristic. It is the essence that makes something individual, separate, distinct from the rest. But how can we understand Haecceity? We can't. It is not a concept we can grasp with our minds. It is not something that fits neatly into categories. It is the thing that resists definition. It is the experience of being separate, of being different, of existing asterisk, this asterisk, and not asterisk, that asterisk. Think of the stars. There are billions of them in the sky, each one unique. But what makes asterisk, this asterisk, star asterisk, this asterisk, star? What is it that makes it different from the others? It is not just its size, its brightness, its position. It is the fact that it is asterisk, this asterisk, star, here, now, that is Haecceity. Even our memories carry with them Haecceity. We remember not just moments but specific moments. We recall not just events, but the feeling of being in them. What makes one memory different from another is the fact that it is asterisk, this asterisk, memory, experienced by asterisk, you asterisk, at asterisk, this asterisk, time, the essence of experience itself. In the same way, every person carries with them their own Haecceity, not just defined by their physical form or their actions, but by their existence in the world. What makes them them, distinct from everyone else? It is not a label or a title. It is a depth beyond what words can capture. Haecceity is in the very fabric of life. It is what makes us asterisk, what makes them asterisk, them asterisk. It is the thread that runs through everything, weaving the world together with its quiet, indivisible essence. It is the thisness that we carry with us, that we cannot escape, and yet cannot fully see. As you lie here, drifting into sleep, think of the Haecceity of your own existence. What makes asterisk, you asterisk, you asterisk, you, not your name, not your body, but the essence that cannot be named. The uniqueness that defines your place in the world. You are here, now, and that is enough. There is no need to understand, There is no need to explain. Haecceity is simply there, waiting, holding everything in place, giving everything its distinctness. It is what makes life beautiful, what makes each moment precious. It is the quiet miracle that everything is exactly as it is. And so, as you slip into sleep, remember this: you are part of the world, but you are also separate from it. You are a moment in time, a breath in the wind, and in that you carry with you your own Haecceity. Unique, irreplaceable, just as you are, just as everything is. You close your eyes, and for a moment you drift. You move from thought to thought, from one possibility to another. But what if, somewhere in another world, another version of you is living out a different possibility? A version of you choosing differently, acting differently, being differently. This is modal realism, a theory that suggests that all possible worlds, every version of reality, every different choice, every different outcome actually exists, not just as ideas or dreams, but as real, tangible worlds, living out their own truths, parallel to the world you know. Modal realism asks us to imagine a vast web of possibilities, a multiverse where every decision we make spawns a new world. Each choice, each what-if creates a new branch, a new path, a new reality. These worlds don't just exist as potential, they are as real as the world you experience now. In this view, every time you choose, you create a new universe. If you decide to stay awake, one version of you stays awake. If you decide to sleep, another version of you falls asleep. Every decision you make, from the smallest to the largest, is a spark that gives birth to a new world. Imagine for a moment that there is a world where you chose something different. Maybe you moved to a new city. Maybe you spoke your truth. Maybe you let go of a fear. In that world, that version of you is living, breathing, experiencing. It is as real as the world you are in now, even if you cannot see it. This idea can be dizzying. It challenges everything we know about existence. It asks us to reconsider what it means to be real. If every possibility exists, then where do we draw the line between what is real and what is not? Is every possibility equally real, or do some worlds hold more weight than others? But modal realism is not a dream. It is not a fantasy. It suggests that these worlds, these possibilities, are not just imagined. They exist, each in its own space, each with its own set of laws, its own flow of time, its own experience. They are as real as the world you are in now. In fact, according to modal realism, every possible world is just as real as the one you inhabit. There is no hierarchy of existence. The world you know, the world you touch, is no more real than the countless other worlds where other versions of you live out different choices, different paths. This theory forces us to confront the nature of reality itself. What does it mean to exist? What makes one world real and another not? Is it our perception, our awareness, or is it something deeper, something more fundamental, that connects all these worlds in a way we can't yet understand? And what of fate? If every choice leads to a new world, then is fate just another illusion? Can you change your path, or are you simply following a script written by the infinite possibilities of your existence? Maybe in one world, you are destined for greatness, and in another, you are simply drifting, choosing small moments of peace. As you sit with this idea, let it sink in. Let the weight of it settle around you. Modal realism doesn't just suggest that other worlds exist. It tells us that everything is possible, that the choices we make ripple out across time and space, creating realities that are no less real than the one we inhabit. In each of those worlds, versions of you are making decisions. They are living lives. They are experiencing joys, suffering through losses, and finding their way through their own labyrinth of choices. And every one of those lives is real. Every one of those possibilities holds weight. But in this world, the only world you can touch, the only world you can feel, is the one you are in now. It is the one that carries your breath, your heart, your thoughts. It is the world where you are living in this moment, drifting between sleep and wakefulness, wondering about the vastness of existence. Perhaps the beauty of modal realism is that it suggests we are not confined to one world. We are part of a larger, infinite expanse of possibilities. The choices we make are not just important in one world, but across the entire multiverse, spreading out like ripples in water, creating endless possibilities. So as you let go of your thoughts, drifting into sleep, remember that there are countless versions of you, exploring different paths, experiencing different lives. Some are awake right now, just like you. Some are dreaming, just like you. Some are living lives you have not yet lived. And in the vastness of this multiverse, where every possibility exists, you are part of it. You are real. You are here. And in this world, you can rest. In the world you are in now, let go of the tension, let go of the questions, and simply be. The multiverse hums quietly around you, full of infinite versions of reality, waiting for you to explore them, waiting for you to choose. But for now, you are here. And that for this moment is enough. You sit in the quiet of your room, feeling the stillness around you. Everything is in its place. You breathe in and you breathe out. But then a thought lingers. What if nothing truly exists? What if the world, the objects, the people, the very idea of being, is simply an illusion, a fleeting dream? This is ontological nihilism. The belief that existence, in its most fundamental sense, may not be real at all. Not in the way we think it is, not in the way we experience it. The idea that everything we know, everything we see, everything we touch, might not truly be in the way we assume. It's an unsettling thought. The very ground beneath our feet might not be as solid as it appears. The world might not have the inherent existence we attribute to it. What if the universe, in its deepest sense, is empty, void of meaning, void of purpose, void of anything at all? Imagine a vast, silent expanse, a canvas without a painter, a sky without stars, no objects, no time, just emptiness. It may sound like nothing, but even that nothing is a concept we create. In ontological nihilism, even our concepts of existence may be projections of a mind trying to make sense of a world that has no inherent sense. What does it mean to exist, if existence itself is a fragile illusion? If the world is not made of things, but simply the appearance of things, constructed by our minds, shaped by our perceptions, then how do we know what is real? Is the sensation of being here in this moment truly the mark of existence? In ontological nihilism, the idea of something existing is meaningless. There is no essence, no foundational substance to ground reality. Everything that we consider real, the objects, the emotions, the thoughts, even the self, is not necessarily more than a series of fleeting impressions, a temporary arrangement of particles, no more permanent than a passing cloud. Take a deep breath. Feel the air move through your lungs. It feels real, doesn't it? But what if that feeling, that sensation, is simply the brain interpreting data, creating a world where there is no world? The air moves, but is it really air? Or is it just an arrangement of molecules, bouncing off your senses, tricking you into thinking it is more than it truly is? This isn't a denial of experience, it is a questioning of its essence. What if the entire framework we use to define reality, the concept of existence, of being, is merely a shadow, an illusion cast by our minds, to cope with the incomprehensible vastness of what we don't know? A comforting lie to shelter us from the terror of facing nothingness. And yet, here we are, in this world, breathing, thinking, feeling. Even if ontological nihilism is true, does it matter? If existence is just a fleeting idea, then perhaps it's the fleeting nature that gives it meaning. Perhaps the only thing we can rely on is the moment, the immediate experience of being, even if it has no lasting foundation. Think of a dream. In the dream, everything feels real. You move through the landscape. You feel joy, pain, fear, hope. But when you wake, it was all gone. The world vanished, and what remains is the memory, the echo of something that existed only in the mind. What if this life is the same? a dream that wakes when we cease to remember. In ontological nihilism, even the search for meaning is an illusion. There is no ultimate purpose, no grand design behind the scenes. The search itself is a construct, a narrative we weave to fill the emptiness. There is no truth to uncover, only the illusion of truth. There is no meaning, only the meaning we create. So what does it mean to exist in this context? Perhaps it means nothing at all. Perhaps existence is not about finding purpose or truth. Perhaps it is simply about experiencing the fleeting moment, the temporary arrangement of thoughts and sensations that pass through us like clouds in a vast, empty sky. If existence has no inherent meaning, then we are free, free to create our own meaning, free to experience the world without the pressure of making it conform to some grand plan. In the absence of inherent purpose, we have the opportunity to craft our own purpose, however small or transient it may be. Take comfort in that freedom. In a world without inherent meaning, every choice, every experience, every breath becomes an act of creation. We create meaning in a world that has none. We define ourselves not by the permanence of existence, but by the transient nature of our experiences. And as you rest, think of this: the world may be an illusion. Your thoughts may be fleeting, but in the brief span of existence, you are alive. You are experiencing, and in that experience, there is a beauty that exists, one that is not bound by meaning, but by the act of being itself. Let go of the need to understand. Let go of the need to define. The world may not be real in the way we think, but your experience of it, your feelings, your senses, your thoughts, are enough. They are yours. Even if they are just fleeting impressions, they are real in this moment. In sleep there is no need to grasp at meaning. There is no need to hold on to the illusion of existence. Let the world slip away. Let the fleeting nature of reality wrap around you like a soft blanket. There is no need to worry about what is or isn't real. There is only the moment, and that is enough. You sit quietly, contemplating the world around you, the objects you see, the shapes and colors, the forms that fill your field of vision. But what if these forms are not the true forms? What if everything you see is just a shadow of something deeper, something more perfect, hidden from view? This is the essence of Plato's theory of forms, the idea that the world we see, with all its imperfections and changes, is not the true reality. The true reality lies in an abstract realm, beyond our senses, where perfect, immutable forms exist. The world we experience is but a mere imitation of this higher world. Imagine a chair. You see it, touch it, sit in it. But what makes it a chair? Is it the wood, the shape, the function? Plato would say no. The chair you see is just an imperfect reflection of the ideal form of a chair. A perfect chair, in its truest sense, exists somewhere beyond this world, in the realm of forms. In Plato's view, everything in the world is an imitation of its perfect form. The trees you see, the animals, the people, they are all imperfect copies of the ideal versions of these things. Each object is only a shadow of its perfect form, a fleeting representation of something that exists outside of time and space. This realm of forms is not physical. It cannot be touched or seen. It is beyond the reach of our senses, yet for Plato, it is the only true reality. The world we experience is temporary, constantly changing, but the forms, the perfect ideas, are eternal and unchanging. They are the essence of what we perceive. To understand the nature of these forms, imagine the perfect circle. In the world around you, you may see circles on clocks, wheels, plates, but none of these are truly perfect. They are all flawed in some way. The perfect circle, according to Plato, exists only as a form. It is the idea of a circle, not any physical representation of it. These forms are not limited to physical objects. Plato's theory extends to abstract concepts as well: justice, beauty, love, knowledge. Each of these concepts has a perfect form. What we experience as justice, beauty, or love in the world is only an imperfect, fleeting reflection of these eternal forms. The true form of justice, beauty, and love exist beyond our perception. In this world of forms, everything is ideal. There is no decay, no imperfection, no time. These forms are eternal and perfect, existing beyond the physical world. They are the blueprint for everything that exists, and yet they remain separate from the world of change and impermanence we experience. For Plato, this world of forms is not something we can directly access through our senses. Instead, we know it through reason, through thought, through intellect. Our souls, according to Plato, have seen these forms before they were born into the physical world. In life, we are merely trying to remember what we once knew in a more perfect state. The physical world is like a shadow of the true reality. It reflects the forms, but it is not the forms themselves. When you look at a chair, you do not see the ideal form of a chair. You see a temporary, imperfect version of it. The physical world is always changing, but the forms remain fixed, unchanging, eternal. This idea is both comforting and unsettling. It suggests that the world we see is not all there is. There is a deeper, more perfect reality, just beyond our perception. But it also reminds us that we are limited. We cannot fully access this higher realm. We can only glimpse it through reason, through thought, through understanding. Plato's theory of forms challenges us to look beyond the surface of things, to seek the deeper essence. What we see may not be all there is. The chair, the tree, the sky, they are just reflections of something more perfect, something beyond our reach. Yet in this imperfection, we find meaning, we find beauty, we find truth. As you sit here, letting the world fade into the background, remember this: you are not merely the shadow of yourself, you are a reflection of something deeper. Your thoughts, your experiences, your existence are part of the perfect forms, even if you cannot fully touch them. In the quiet space between thoughts, you are connected to this deeper reality. Even in sleep, your mind still reaches for the forms, for the perfect ideas that lie just beyond the veil. You are part of the world of imperfection, but you are also a part of the perfect world that exists beyond it. So let go of the need to grasp everything. Let the world around you be as it is. In your dreams, you may catch glimpses of the forms, of the perfect versions of things that exist beyond time and space. And in that you may find peace, knowing that even in imperfection, there is perfection just beyond the horizon. Rest now, knowing that the forms are there, even if you cannot see them. They exist, waiting for you to remember. They are the essence of all that is, and through you they live on, even in the fleeting moments of your life. Let go of the need to understand fully. The forms are eternal, and so are you. You sit quietly, noticing the room around you, the walls, the objects scattered about. Everything seems real, tangible, solid. But then, a question arises. What if it's all just a perception? What if nothing truly exists outside of your mind? What if the world you see is simply a projection of your thoughts? This is the essence of Berkeley's idealism. The belief that existence is tied to perception, that objects, the very things we see and touch, do not exist independently of our minds. They exist because we perceive them. To be is to be perceived. Without perception, without a mind to witness them, they do not exist at all. Imagine a tree in the forest. You are not there to see it, to hear its leaves rustle. Does the tree still exist? According to Berkeley, it does not. The tree only exists in the mind of the observer. The idea of the tree, its form, its color, are dependent on someone perceiving it. This might seem strange, even unsettling. How can something exist if no one is there to perceive it? But Berkeley would say that even when you are not looking, the tree still exists in the mind of God. For Berkeley, it is not just us who perceive the world. The divine mind, the mind of God, continuously perceives everything, ensuring that it remains real. This view changes how we think about the world. No longer are objects something that exist independently of us, waiting to be discovered. Rather, the world exists in a constant state of perception. It is an endless unfolding with everything, from a blade of grass to a distant star, held in the mind of the observer. You might ask, but what about when no one is around? What about when I close my eyes? Berkeley would answer that the world does not vanish when we are not looking. It is sustained by the continuous perception of God. The world remains, not because we perceive it, but because the divine mind perceives it for us. In this way, existence is inseparable from perception. You cannot have one without the other. The tree, the chair, the sky, none of these things exist as we think of them outside of our minds. They are ideas, impressions, sensations that only exist when they are perceived. They are not independent objects but mental constructs. But Berkeley's idealism goes further than just the mind of the individual. It proposes that everything, from the smallest pebble to the greatest mountain, is a thought, an idea, within the vast consciousness of God. This view dissolves the divide between the material and the immaterial. Everything is made of ideas, held together in a grand, continuous perception. This view of the world challenges everything we know about reality. If nothing truly exists outside of perception, then what is real? What is the nature of the world? Berkeley would say that reality is not external to us, not physical in the way we usually think. It is a realm of ideas, of perceptions, woven together in the divine mind. The implications are profound. If all things exist in the mind of God, then there is no ultimate division between subject and object. There is no separation between you and the world around you. Everything is interconnected, a part of the divine mind, perceived continuously, eternally, through the eyes of God. This also changes the way we think about knowledge. If objects are not separate from our perceptions, then what we know about the world is not an independent truth, but a truth that exists within the mind. The knowledge we gain is not about discovering external facts, but about experiencing the ideas that shape our perception. In a sense, we are all part of the same vast perception, floating together in the consciousness of the divine. The boundaries between self and other blur. What you see, what you feel, what you think, these are not separate from the world, but intertwined with it. You are not a solitary observer, but a participant in the unfolding of reality. So as you rest, think of this: the world around you is not just a collection of objects. It is a living tapestry, woven together in the mind of God, experienced through your own perception. Everything exists because it is perceived, and in that perception, you are connected to the world, to all that exists. The world may seem solid, unchanging, outside of you. But in Berkeley's idealism, it is nothing more than a dance of ideas, shifting and changing with every thought, every perception. The world is not fixed, it is alive, ever-changing, ever-present, held together by the divine mind. And in the quiet space between thoughts, you may feel this. The world is not separate from you. You are not apart from it. You are part of the grand perception, the unfolding of ideas, living in the mind of God. And in that, you are not alone. Rest now knowing that you are part of this vast, eternal perception. You are not separate from the world. You are woven into its fabric, held together by the thoughts that shape it. You are both observer and observed, living in the mind that sees it all. And as you drift towards sleep, let the idea of the world fade into the background. Let go of the illusion of separation. Feel yourself connected to everything, woven into the ever-unfolding perception that is the world. Let that connection carry you gently into the quiet of sleep, where the world exists in your mind, and you exist in it. You sit in the quiet of your room, feeling the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. You close your eyes, letting the world fade away. But even as the world slips into darkness, a question lingers. What if reality itself is not as solid as it seems? What if it is both here and not here at the same time? This is the essence of quantum superposition, a state where things can exist in multiple states at once, both true and false, both present and absent. Imagine for a moment that the world around you is not as fixed and definite as you experience it. What if, at its core, it is filled with possibilities? In quantum mechanics, particles are not confined to a single state. They exist as waves of probability, spread out across space and time. A particle can be in more than one place at once, moving between possibilities like a dreamer shifting between different dreams. The moment we observe it, it settles into one state, one reality. But until that observation is made, the particle is both here and there, moving in multiple directions, existing in multiple states. The observer, the act of perceiving, collapses these possibilities into one reality. Without the observer, there is no fixed state. Reality remains fluid, uncertain, suspended in a web of potential. This strange dance of possibility and reality challenges everything we know. We live in a world that feels certain, stable, real, but at the quantum level, things are not fixed. They are both and neither, swirling in an ever-changing dance of probabilities. What seems solid is just an illusion, a snapshot of a moment in time. Quantum superposition suggests that reality is not a single unchanging thing, but a collection of possibilities, all existing in parallel. The world is not made of separate, distinct objects. It is a network of interconnected probabilities, ever shifting, always potential. The only reason we see a fixed world is because we are constantly observing it, collapsing these probabilities into a single stable reality. Imagine for a moment that you could see the world as it truly is, not as a set of fixed objects, but as a swirling cloud of possibilities. Everything around you, the chair, the tree, the sky, is not one thing. It is many, spread out across time and space, waiting for the observer to give it shape, to give it meaning. This is not just a thought experiment, it is the nature of the universe itself. At the deepest level, reality is a dance of probabilities, of waves and particles, of uncertain states. It is only when we observe, when we collapse the wave of possibility into one single outcome, that we experience the world as we know it. In quantum superposition, the idea of fixed reality disappears. Everything is in flux. The very fabric of the world is made of uncertainty, of possibility. What we see, what we touch, what we feel, is only a momentary snapshot of an ever-shifting, ever-changing dance of probabilities. But what does this mean for us, as we live our lives in this seemingly solid world? It means that reality is not a single stable thing. It is an unfolding, a process of constant change, shaped by our perception. We do not see the world as it truly is. We see it as a fixed version of what could be. And perhaps that is the beauty of it. We live in a world of possibility, a world where nothing is set in stone, where everything is open to interpretation, to change, to growth. Quantum superposition shows us that reality is not a closed system. It is open, malleable, filled with potential. The world we experience is just one of many possibilities. So as you rest, think of the world around you, the objects, the people, the moments. They are not as fixed as they seem. They are possibilities, suspended in a web of quantum potential, waiting for your observation, for your experience, to bring them into being. You are not a passive observer in this world. You are an active participant, shaping reality with every breath. In sleep, you drift between worlds, between possibilities. Just as quantum particles shift between states, so too does your mind, floating between dreams and wakefulness, between what is and what could be. The world around you, in all its uncertainty, remains like the quantum particle, suspended in potential, shaped by your consciousness. So let go of the need to understand. Let go of the need to define. Reality is not fixed. It is fluid, dynamic, full of endless possibilities. Just as the quantum world exists in superposition, so too does your experience of it. You are part of the unfolding, part of the dance between what is and what could be. As you slip deeper into sleep, remember this: the world is not as solid as it seems. It is a collection of possibilities, a web of potential. Everything exists in superposition until you observe it, until you shape it with your perception, and in that moment of observation, the world becomes real. You sit quietly, listening to the sounds around you, the soft hum of the world as it moves through the night. Words are spoken, thoughts drift, but what do they truly mean? What are the rules that give them their shape, their substance? Perhaps in this moment, the meaning is not what you think it is. This is the heart of Wittgenstein's language games, a subtle, profound idea that questions the very nature of meaning. Language, Wittgenstein suggests, is not a direct mirror of the world. It is a tool, a set of rules, a game we play to communicate with each other. But the rules are fluid, ever-changing. Imagine for a moment that you and I are playing a game. We agree on the rules, the way we will use words, how they will relate to the world. But the rules are not fixed. They evolve as we play, as we interact, as we discover new ways to use the language we share. Language in this view is not about capturing a fixed truth. It is about creating meaning through shared use. The meaning of a word is not inherent in the word itself, but in how we use it in context, how it fits within the broader structure of communication, how it serves its purpose in the game. Think of a child learning to speak. They begin with simple words, mimicking what they hear, but as they grow, so do their words, their meanings. The game changes, expands, as they learn to use language to express more complex thoughts, emotions, and ideas. The meaning of words evolves as the game progresses. There is no single, unchanging definition of a word. There are many ways to use it, many ways to play the language game. The same word can mean different things in different contexts, depending on the rules of the game being played. Meaning is not fixed, it is a fluid, evolving process. Wittgenstein's language games invite us to see meaning as a dynamic relational process. It is not about discovering a hidden truth behind words, but about engaging in the act of communication itself, participating in the flow of conversation, the dance of meaning that unfolds with every exchange. And yet, in our daily lives, we often forget this. We become attached to the idea that words have fixed meanings, that there is one true definition for everything. But Wittgenstein's philosophy shows us that meaning is not something that exists outside of us, waiting to be uncovered. It is something we create, together, through the language games we play. Every word is a part of a game, a piece of the larger structure of language. It is a tool we use to connect with others, to share our thoughts, to express our reality. But the tool is never separate from the game itself. The game shapes the tool, just as the tool shapes the game. In this way, meaning is never fully ours, it is always shared. We learn the rules of the language game through experience, through social interaction, through the act of speaking and listening. We are not isolated beings with fixed meanings. We are participants in a living, breathing web of communication, constantly evolving, constantly shifting. So as you sit here, listening to the quiet hum of the world, consider this: the words you hear, the thoughts you think, are not the final truth. They are part of the game, part of the flow of meaning that is always changing, always shifting. They are not static objects, but dynamic relationships. And as you drift towards sleep, let go of the need to pin everything down, to find the one true meaning. Let the words and thoughts flow, knowing that meaning is not something to be grasped, but something to be played with, something to be experienced. It is the game itself, not the end result, that matters. Sleep does not need to be defined. It does not need to be explained. It is part of the game of existence, part of the rhythm of life. Let it unfold naturally, without the pressure of trying to understand it, to control it. Let yourself drift, knowing that the meaning of this moment is not something fixed, it is something shared, something fluid, in this vast language game. You are not an outsider, you are a player, a participant in the flow of meaning that stretches across time, across consciousness, across existence. There is no right or wrong way to play. There is only the game itself, unfolding with every thought, every word, every breath. So as you close your eyes, remember the words, the thoughts, the ideas. None of them are final. They are part of a dance, part of a conversation, part of a game that stretches far beyond what you can see. And in that, you are free, free to be a part of something greater than yourself, free to let go. You lie back and listen to the stillness, feeling the space around you, the distance between objects, the quiet rhythm of time passing. But have you ever wondered if space and time are not separate entities? What if they are not the containers we think they are, but instead the relationships between everything? This is the essence of the relational theory of space and time. It suggests that space and time do not exist as independent, absolute entities. Instead, they are defined by the relationships between objects and events. In this view, there is no empty space. There is only space in relation to the things within it. Think for a moment about a tree standing in an open field. The tree exists within space, but it also defines that space. The distance between the tree and the horizon, the tree and the sky, the tree and the earth, these relationships give space its meaning, its very essence. Space exists only because the tree and everything else is there in relation. Time, too, is not a thing unto itself. It is the relationship between events. It is the flow from one moment to the next, the connection between causes and effects. Without events, there is no time. Without movement, there is no time. Time is not a river flowing on its own. It is the change that occurs, the shifting of moments. So when you look at the world, you are not simply seeing objects in space and events unfolding in time. You are seeing the intricate dance of relationships that define both space and time. The way objects interact with one another, the way events follow one another, this is what creates the fabric of reality as we know it. In this view, space and time do not exist independently. They are not absolute. They do not have an existence of their own. They are a result of the connections between things, of the relationships that form between objects and events. They are not the containers of reality, but the product of it. Consider a simple example. Imagine two people standing across from one another. The distance between them defines the space. The moment they move toward each other, the space changes. Time is the unfolding of their movements. The space between them is not fixed. It changes as they move and time changes as they do. In this relational theory, the universe is not filled with empty space, waiting to be filled with objects. Instead, space is the result of the relationships between things. The very fabric of reality is shaped by the interactions that occur. It is not an empty stage where events play out, but a dynamic web of connections. Time, too, is shaped by relationships. The past, present, and future are not distinct, fixed periods, but rather they emerge from the relationships between events. Time is the unfolding of these relationships. The movement of events creates time, just as the movement of objects creates space. They are intertwined, inseparable. This view of space and time forces us to think about reality in a different way. It suggests that everything is connected, that nothing exists in isolation, that the universe is a vast web of relationships where space and time emerge from the connections between everything. It is a universe of interaction, not separation. As you lie here, drifting into sleep, think of the world around you, the space between the stars, the moments that pass by. They are not separate from you. They are not independent. They are the result of the relationships you share with everything. You are part of the web, the dance of space and time. In this moment, space and time are not distant concepts. They are woven into the very fabric of your experience. The distance between you and the world, the moments that pass as you breathe, these are not just abstract ideas. They are real, shaped by the relationships that unfold around you. Let go of the idea that space and time are separate, fixed things. Instead, embrace the idea that they are dynamic, ever-changing. They are not containers that hold you. They are the relationships that connect you to everything around you. Space and time are not things you exist within. You exist because of them. And as you slip deeper into rest, remember this: the universe is not a collection of objects in space and moments in time. It is a web of relationships, ever unfolding, ever changing. Space and time are not separate from you. They are you. They are the essence of existence itself, woven into the very fabric of your being. Sleep now, letting go of the need to define. Space and time are not things to be understood, but experienced. They are not fixed. They are fluid, ever-changing. And in that change, you are connected to everything. You are part of the web, part of the dance, part of the ever-shifting relationships that make up reality. You rest quietly, feeling the soft rhythm of your breath. Your mind is awake, but your body is still. But where are you? What is it that experiences this moment, the sensation of breath, the feeling of rest? Is it your body? Or something else, something that transcends the physical world? This is the essence of substance dualism. The idea that there are two fundamental kinds of substances in the world, the physical and the mental. The body is made of matter, but the mind, the soul, the consciousness itself, these are something else, something immaterial. Two distinct realms, each playing its part in the dance of existence. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in front of a mirror. Your body is reflected back at you, solid, real. But what of the mind that stands before the mirror? What of the thoughts, the consciousness, the awareness that is observing? According to substance dualism, these are not the same. The body and the mind are separate entities. Your body exists in the physical world, subject to the laws of physics, to space and time. It is composed of matter, atoms, molecules, cells, but your mind, your consciousness, does not follow these laws. It is not made of matter. It exists in a different realm, one that cannot be measured, touched, or observed by the senses. Substance dualism says that the mind and the body interact, but they are fundamentally different. The mind is not just the result of brain activity or physical processes. It is something distinct, something separate. It is the essence of thought, of experience, of perception. The body is the vessel, but the mind is the observer, the experiencer. This idea stretches back to the work of René Descartes, who famously said, "I think, therefore I am." Descartes believed that the mind was separate from the body, that the act of thinking, of doubting, of reflecting on one's existence, proved the existence of the mind as a distinct substance. The mind, in his view, was separate from the body, a non-material substance. In this view, the mind is not limited by the physical world. It can think, imagine, reason, and experience, independent of the body. The body is subject to the laws of the universe, gravity, energy, motion, but the mind exists outside these constraints. It is free, untethered to the material world, able to transcend the physical. Consider your own thoughts. They come and go. They arise, shift, and fade. They are not bound to the body in the same way that your hands or feet are. When you dream, when you imagine, when you reflect, you are engaging with a world that is separate from the physical body. You are not just your body. You are the mind, the consciousness, the experiencer of your own life. But what of the body? It is real. You can feel it, touch it, move it. You know its weight, its shape, its needs. It is an undeniable part of your existence. Yet in substance dualism, it is only a temporary vessel for the mind. The body may age, decay, and die, but the mind is something that exists independently, beyond the limits of the physical. This separation of mind and body has profound implications for our understanding of life, death, and existence. If the mind is truly separate from the body, then what happens when the body ceases to function? Does the mind continue? Is there something beyond the physical world that carries our consciousness forward? Substance dualism suggests that there is, that death may not be the end of the mind. If the mind exists independently of the body, it may not be subject to the same fate. The body may die, but the mind may continue, free from the physical constraints of the body. In this view, the soul, an immaterial substance, survives beyond the grave. But even in life, this separation raises questions. How do the mind and body interact? How can something immaterial, like the mind, affect something physical, like the body? How can thoughts and emotions influence the brain, causing changes in behavior, sensation, or physical response? The mystery of this interaction is at the heart of substance dualism. As you rest here, feeling your breath, feeling your body, think of the mind within you, the thoughts, the dreams, the consciousness that is observing this moment. It is not just your body that exists, it is your mind, your awareness, your soul. You are not simply a collection of cells. You are an observer, a thinker, a being that transcends the physical. In this space between wakefulness and sleep, let go of the boundaries between the mind and body. Let the body rest, knowing it is the vessel, and let the mind wander freely, exploring the vast landscape of thoughts, dreams, and possibilities. The mind is not limited by the physical world. It is free, floating in the boundless expanse of consciousness. Sleep, too, is a mystery. The body may rest, but what of the mind? Does it continue to exist, to think, to imagine, even in sleep? Substance dualism suggests that the mind is not bound to the body, even in sleep. It exists independently, free to dream, free to wander, free to experience. So as you drift deeper into rest, remember this: you are not just your body. You are the mind, the consciousness, the experiencer of your life. The body is but a vessel, a temporary home for the eternal mind. And in that mind, you are free, always existing beyond the physical, beyond the limitations of space and time. Rest now, knowing that you are more than your body. You are the mind, the soul, the eternal observer of your own existence. And in this stillness, in this moment, you are free. You sit quietly, feeling the soft rhythm of your breath, your body nestled in the stillness of the moment. The world around you feels whole, composed of objects, things, and parts. But what if everything you know is made up of parts that don't really exist in the way you think they do? This is the concept of mereological nihilism, a strange and unsettling idea that challenges the very way we think about objects in their parts. What if instead of seeing objects as collections of smaller parts, we saw that the parts themselves don't exist independently? What if the whole is just an illusion? According to mereological nihilism, objects like chairs, trees, and even people do not truly exist in the way we perceive them. They are not made up of smaller, independent parts that come together to form a whole. Instead, the whole is an illusion, a temporary arrangement of parts that don't really exist when you look closer. Imagine a chair. You see it, sit in it, use it. But when you break it down, what is a chair made of? Wood, screws, fabric, components that each have their own separate existence. But are these parts truly a chair, or just elements of the chair? In mereological nihilism, the chair itself doesn't truly exist as we think it does. Only the individual parts do. So what about the tree you see outside your window? The same principle applies. The tree is an arrangement of leaves, branches, and trunk, each part existing independently. But the tree as a whole is an idea, a concept we create to understand the world, without the mind to perceive it. The tree doesn't exist in the way we believe. This view of reality forces us to question what it means to be whole. If objects are just fleeting arrangements of parts, does that mean we are not who we think we are? Are we not individuals, but simply a collection of cells and atoms that form an identity only in the mind of the observer? Are we simply an arrangement of parts? Mereological nihilism invites us to see everything differently. The objects around us, the people we know, the moments we experience, none of them are truly whole. They are just temporary arrangements, shifting constantly, like a dream that rearranges itself every time we wake. What we call whole is just a momentary snapshot of many parts. But what happens when the parts change? When the arrangement shifts, if nothing truly exists as a fixed whole, then everything is always in flux. The idea of permanence dissolves. The world is a constantly changing tapestry of parts, recombining and shifting with every moment, never really settling into something real. And yet we experience the world as if it is stable, solid, and complete. We see the chair, the tree, the person, and believe they are unchanging. But mereological nihilism suggests that this perception is an illusion. There is no solid, permanent thing that remains unchanged. There are only parts ever in motion, ever shifting. So what does this mean for our understanding of existence? If the things we see are only temporary arrangements of parts, then what is the essence of reality? Perhaps it is not about the things themselves, but about the relationships between the parts. The world may not be made of solid, unchanging things, but of connections, moments and patterns that emerge and dissolve. Even the self, the I that you experience, may not be a solid, permanent entity. In mereological nihilism, the self is just a fleeting arrangement of thoughts, feelings and memories. The body is made up of countless cells and atoms, constantly shifting. But the you think of as yourself is not a fixed entity. It is a collection of parts, constantly in flux. As you lie here, drifting into sleep, think of the world around you. Everything you see, everything you know, is not as solid as it seems. The objects, the people, the moments, they are all temporary arrangements, fleeting and changing. What you perceive as whole is just an idea, a perception. The parts are the only truth. This view of reality challenges everything we know. If nothing is truly whole, if everything is just a collection of parts, what does it mean to be real? What is existence if the things we see and feel are not as permanent as we believe? Perhaps existence is not about fixed objects, but about the patterns and relationships that emerge. In sleep, these thoughts may fade, and the world will feel solid again. But even in sleep, the idea of mereological nihilism lingers in the background. What if everything we experience, from the smallest thought to the largest event, is not made of solid, lasting things, but is just a momentary arrangement, a fleeting dance of parts? Let go of the need to hold on to the idea of permanence. Let the world shift and change around you. In this moment, everything is both here and not here, complete and incomplete, whole and fragmented. The universe is an ever-changing tapestry, and you are part of the arrangement. Sleep now, knowing that even in this fleeting moment, you are both part of the whole and the collection of parts. You are not fixed but shifting. You are not permanent, but part of the flow. And in that, you are free. The world is not solid but alive, constantly rearranging itself into new patterns, new possibilities. Rest in this knowledge that nothing is permanent, nothing is fixed, and yet everything is part of the dance. The universe moves, the parts shift, and you are part of that movement. Let it carry you gently into sleep, where the boundaries between parts and whole fade, and everything exists in the delicate balance of the now. You lie still, your breath deep and steady, your body relaxing into the quiet. But as you rest, a question stirs within you. Who are you, really? What makes you the same person from one moment to the next? What keeps you as you if everything changes? This is the essence of the non-identity problem, the unsettling thought that perhaps there is no fixed you, that the person you think of as yourself may not be the same from moment to moment, that your identity, your very essence, may be an illusion shaped by the shifting tides of time and change. You might think of yourself as a continuous, unchanging being, a self that endures, a core that remains intact throughout your life. But what happens when you examine it closer? What is it that makes you the same person, even as your thoughts, your body, and your experiences constantly shift? Every cell in your body is replaced over time. Every memory fades, changes, or is forgotten. Your thoughts, too, are always moving, flowing, never static. So what holds it all together? What keeps the intact when everything around it is in constant flux? Is there truly a fixed you underneath the layers of change? This is the puzzle at the heart of the non-identity problem. If everything about you, your body, your mind, your memories, is always changing, then what is left to define you? Is it possible that the you of today is not the same as the you of yesterday, even though you experience them as the same person? Imagine for a moment that you are a river. The water flows, the rocks shift, the banks change. Each moment, you are a different river. The water that passes through you is not the same from one moment to the next. So how can you say that it is you? Is the river still the river if none of the water remains? In the same way, you are constantly changing. You are not the same you were years ago. Your body, your mind, your experiences are all in constant flux. The I that you call yourself is not a permanent thing. It is a collection of moments, a flowing stream of thoughts, memories, and sensations. This doesn't mean that you don't exist, it just means that the idea of a fixed identity is an illusion. You are not a solid, unchanging being. You are a process. You are the flow of experiences, the movement of time, the unfolding of life. You are not one thing, but many things, constantly shifting and rearranging. So where does this leave you? If there is no fixed identity, then what holds it all together? Perhaps it is the continuity of experience, the thread that runs through your life, tying the moments together. The you is not something that remains unchanged, but something that emerges from the dance of change itself. The non-identity problem asks us to let go of the idea of a permanent self. It invites us to see that we are not isolated, unchanging entities. We are part of a vast, ever-moving process. The I is not a fixed object. It is the way we experience ourselves, the way we relate to the world, the way we unfold in time. This idea can be freeing. If there is no permanent self to protect, no fixed identity to cling to, then there is room for change. There is room for growth, for transformation, for becoming. You are not bound by who you were yesterday. You are free to be who you are today, and who you will be tomorrow. The non-identity problem also touches on how we relate to others. If our own identity is not fixed, then how can we expect others to be fixed? Just as you change, so do they. The people in your life are not the same from one moment to the next. They too are flowing rivers, constantly shifting, constantly becoming. This fluidity of identity is not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be embraced. It reminds us that we are not static. We are dynamic, always in motion. The I that you experience is not the same as the I that someone else experiences. It is shaped by time, by perception, by change. As you rest, let go of the need to hold on to a fixed self. Let the idea of a permanent identity dissolve into the quiet. You are not who you were, you are who you are in this moment. And that, in its fluidity, is enough. You are not fixed, you are alive, unfolding, becoming. The non-identity problem teaches us to embrace the flow of life, to understand that we are not isolated, static beings, but part of an ever-moving process. And in that movement, we find our true nature, not as something permanent, but as something fluid, something alive, something always becoming. Sleep now, knowing that you are not defined by who you were or who you will be. You are who you are right now. And even in sleep, as your body rests, your mind continues to flow, to shift, to change. You are not the same person from moment to moment, and in that you are free. Rest in the knowledge that identity is not something to hold on to. It is something to experience, something to move through, something to let go of. In the flow of change, you are both everything and nothing, always becoming, always unfolding, always present. And in that, you are complete. You close your eyes, feeling the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Thoughts drift gently, like clouds in the sky. But in the quiet of your mind, a question stirs. What is it that allows you to be aware? What is it that experiences this moment, this feeling, this thought? This is the essence of the hard problem of consciousness. The question that has puzzled philosophers and scientists alike: how does the subjective experience of awareness arise from the physical brain? How do the sensations we feel, the colors we see, the emotions we experience come from neurons firing in a body made of matter? Your body exists in the world, surrounded by other objects, other people, other events, but your experience of this world, your asterisk awareness, asterisk of it, seems to exist in a different realm. It is not something you can touch or measure. It is not something that can be reduced to physical processes. Imagine a bright red apple in front of you. You see its color, you feel its weight, you know its shape. But what is it like to experience that color, that weight, that shape? What is it like to be the one who perceives the apple, to feel the sensation of asterisk redness, asterisk? This is the heart of the hard problem. The apple as an object is made of atoms, molecules, and energy. But the redness you experience, how does that emerge from these physical components? The brain processes the information, but the actual feeling of asterisk seeing redness, the asterisk what it's like asterisk to have that experience, remains a mystery. This gap is the hard problem of consciousness. You might think of it like a machine. A machine could process information about the apple, its shape, its color, its position in space. But would it asterisk feel asterisk the redness? Would it have the experience of seeing the apple as red? The problem is not in the machine's ability to process the world, but in how experience itself arises. This is the puzzle that eludes us. The brain made of neurons and electrical signals can account for many aspects of perception, memory, and action. But how does it give rise to asterisk subjectivity? Asterisk. How does it create the inner world of feeling, of experiencing, of being aware? This is the hard problem of consciousness. The experience itself. Some suggest that consciousness is simply an illusion, that we are not really aware of our thoughts and feelings, but only believe we are. Others argue that consciousness arises naturally from the complexity of the brain, like the emergence of patterns from simple rules. But even if these ideas help us explain how consciousness works, they don't explain why asterisk experience asterisk exists at all. Why does it asterisk feel asterisk like something to be you, to be conscious, to have awareness? The problem is not just that we cannot measure or observe consciousness, but that we cannot explain why it exists. Why is there something bod? It's like asterisk to be alive, to perceive, to think. This is the hard problem. In sleep, this question might fade, as your body rests and your mind quiets. But even in sleep, the question remains. What is it like to experience a dream, to live in that moment of perception, of consciousness? Sleep itself is a form of unconsciousness, but when you wake, the feeling of waking up, of asterisk becoming aware asterisk is there again. This puzzle deepens as we consider the nature of time. In every moment we experience the world, the moment passes, and we move into the next. But what is it that moves with time? What is it that experiences change? The world moves around us, but we are always aware of it, always present. How does that awareness persist? Perhaps the hard problem of consciousness is a question without an answer, or at least without an answer we can grasp in our current understanding. Perhaps it is not something we will ever truly solve, but in that uncertainty lies something beautiful. The very fact that we can wonder about it is part of the mystery of consciousness itself. As you lie here resting in the quiet, let the question go, let it fade like a distant echo, soft and far away. There is no need to understand it now. The awareness that you have, the feeling of being here, of being alive in this moment, that itself is a wonder. Even without the answer, it is enough. The hard problem of consciousness asks us to face the unknown. It reminds us that we are not just bodies moving through the world. We are asterisk experiencers. Asterisk, we are the ones who feel, who perceive, who know what it is like to be alive. That in itself is a mystery worth embracing. So as you drift into sleep, let the experience of being fade into the background. You do not need to understand it. Just let yourself be. Let the feeling of consciousness carry you through the night, knowing that even in its mystery, it is part of the beauty of existence, and that beauty is enough. You lie quietly, feeling the soft rise and fall of your breath. The world around you seems so certain, so tangible. Yet, what if everything you know is not as real as it seems? What if the very fabric of existence itself is more fragile, more uncertain than you have ever considered? This is the essence of metaphysical anti-realism. The belief that the world, as we understand it, does not exist independently of our minds. It challenges the idea that reality is something fixed, something that exists out there, waiting to be discovered. Instead, it suggests that reality is shaped by perception, by thought, by interpretation. In this view, objects, events, and experiences are not independent of us. They do not exist apart from our minds. The world we see, The world we know is not a world that exists outside of us. It is a world that is constructed through our perception, our interpretation, our consciousness. Reality is not something that exists on its own. It is something that emerges through us. Imagine for a moment that everything around you, the room, the objects, the sounds, the sensations, is not fixed. It is not solid, permanent. It is a product of your perception, an unfolding of consciousness. The world does not stand separate from you, but is shaped by the very act of perceiving it. You are not just part of the world, you are the world itself. This is a profound shift in how we think about existence. If reality is not independent, then everything we know is not an objective fact, but a shared creation. It is shaped by language, by culture, by experience. What we see as real is not a reflection of some external truth, but an ongoing process of interaction and interpretation. In metaphysical anti-realism, there is no absolute reality. There is no ultimate truth that exists outside of our minds. Everything we know, everything we experience, is filtered through the lens of perception. The boundaries between what is real and what is imagined blur. What we think of as objective reality is just a construct, a shared illusion. This view challenges the certainty of our everyday existence. We often think that the world is out there, separate from us, waiting to be understood. But metaphysical anti-realism suggests that we are not passive observers of reality. We are active participants in creating it, in defining it, in giving it meaning. Reality is not something given, it is something made. In this light, the world is no longer an object to be measured, but an experience to be lived. The tree outside your window, the sound of the wind, the light of the moon, all of these are not fixed things. They are moments of perception, fleeting and shifting. They exist not as things themselves, but as experiences in the flow of consciousness. If everything is shaped by our perception, then the distinction between what is real and what is imagined becomes less clear. How do we know what is truly real? How do we distinguish between the world we perceive and the world that exists beyond us? If such a world exists at all, metaphysical anti-realism suggests that this line is always fluid, always shifting. Think of the dream world. When you dream, you experience a reality. It feels real, vivid, solid. But when you wake, you realize that the world of your dreams was just a creation of your mind. In the same way, metaphysical anti-realism suggests that the waking world too is a creation, not something separate and objective, but something that emerges through us. The beauty of this view is that it frees us from the constraints of fixed reality. It invites us to see the world not as something set in stone, but as something open, malleable, shaped by our thoughts, by our interactions, by our creativity. We are not trapped in a rigid world. We are co-creators of the reality we experience. So as you rest here, feel the world around you, feel the space you occupy, the sensations in your body, the thoughts drifting through your mind. Know that they are not fixed, they are fluid, shaped by your perception, your consciousness. You are not separate from the world. You are part of it, constantly creating it in every moment. In sleep, the world becomes even more fluid. The boundaries between reality and imagination dissolve. You drift between worlds, between possibilities, between moments of perception that are not bound by the same rules of waking life. In sleep, the world you experience is not fixed, but shaped by the dream of the moment. Let go of the need to define. Let go of the need to understand. The world is not something to grasp, but something to experience. It is not an object to be studied, but a process to be lived. And in that living, in that experience, you are free. You are both the observer and the creator, both the dreamer and the dream. As you slip deeper into sleep, feel the world shift. Let the certainty of what is real fade away. Let the boundaries between you and the world dissolve. In this space, there are no fixed rules. There is only experience, only perception, only the ever-changing flow of consciousness. Rest now, knowing that reality is not something fixed, something objective. It is something that unfolds through you. You are not bound by the world. You are part of it, shaping it, creating it with every thought, every breath, every moment of awareness. And in that you are free. You lie still, feeling the quiet of the world surrounding you. The passage of time seems constant, like a steady flow of moments, but have you ever wondered if time itself is just an illusion? What if the way we experience time, its past, present, and future, is not as real as we think it is? This is the idea of time as an illusion. The belief that time, in the way we understand it, does not truly exist as an independent entity. Time is not a force flowing from the past into the future. Instead, it is a perception, a construct created by our minds to organize the events we experience. Consider this: when you think of time, you may picture it as a line, stretching endlessly in both directions. The past behind you, the future ahead. But what if this line, this idea of time, is not real? What if the past and future are simply mental constructs, and only the present moment truly exists? If time is an illusion, then what of the past? We remember it, we reflect on it, but the past does not exist in the same way the present does. It is a collection of memories, a series of images and sensations held in our minds. The past is gone, but we carry it with us, shaping our sense of self and the future. The future, too, is a creation of the mind. We imagine it, we plan for it, but it is not here yet. It is a collection of possibilities, but it is not real. The future is always just out of reach, a horizon that recedes as we move toward it. It is a dream we chase, but never touch. So where does that leave the present? The present is the only moment that truly exists. It is the only reality we can experience. And yet, even the present is fleeting. It slips away as soon as we try to grasp it. It is always just a moment in time, a point between the past and the future, never still. If time is not what we think it is, then how do we experience it? Perhaps time is simply a way for our minds to make sense of change. We organize events in a linear fashion, creating a narrative that helps us navigate the world. Time is the structure we impose on the flow of experience, but without this structure, would there be time at all? Would we still experience change, still feel the passing of moments, or would everything be one continuous, eternal now? In this view, time is not a thing, but a way of interpreting change. It is a map we use to navigate the shifting landscape of existence. Imagine for a moment that time does not exist. There are no past moments to dwell on, no future moments to worry about. There is only the present, ever-changing, ever-flowing. Each moment is not part of a timeline, but a unique expression of the now. There is no need to measure or organize. There is only experience. This idea can be liberating. If time is an illusion, then we are not bound by its constraints. We are not bound by the past, and we are not limited by the future. We are free to live fully in the present, to experience each moment as it comes, without the weight of time pressing upon us. As you lie here, drifting into sleep, think of the present. This moment is all that exists. Time, as we know it, is slipping away. There is no past pulling you back, no future pulling you forward. There is only now, and in that now, you are free. Free from the illusion of time. Let go of the need to chase moments, to capture time. The present is all you need. You are not a prisoner of the past or the future. You are here, now, in the flow of existence. Time is not holding you. You are simply part of the dance of change, moving through each moment. In sleep, the illusion of time fades even further. The past dissolves, and the future slips away. You are left with the pure experience of the now. There is no measuring, no counting, no dividing of moments. There is only the flow, the rhythm, the stillness of being. And as you drift deeper into rest, remember this: time may be an illusion, but existence is real. The moments you experience are real. The feelings you have are real. You are real, and in this moment, that is enough. Time, as we know it, is just a passing dream. Sleep now, knowing that time does not define you. It does not limit you. You are beyond its reach, beyond its measurement. You are part of the flow, part of the unfolding present, and in that you are free. Free from the illusion of time, free to rest, to dream, to simply be. You rest in the quiet, feeling the stillness of the night surrounding you. The world is full of moments, of time passing by. But what if time isn't the flowing river we imagine it to be? What if instead, time is something more fixed, something that exists all at once? This is the B theory of time, a view that suggests time is not a flowing river, a sequence of moments stretching from past to future. Instead, time is like a landscape where past, present, and future all coexist, equally real. The present is not special, it is just another part of the whole. In the B theory, all moments in time, every event, every instant are equally real, whether they are in the past, the present, or the future. The future is not something that is waiting to unfold, and the past is not something that is gone. All moments are fixed in place, part of a timeless reality. This view of time challenges our everyday experience. We feel the passing of time as something flowing, something moving forward, carrying us along with it. But the B theory suggests that this sense of movement is an illusion. Time does not flow. It is laid out, complete, like a book where every page exists all at once. Imagine for a moment that you are looking at a picture. In that picture, every detail exists all at once. The sky, the trees, the people, they are all there in their entirety. In the same way, the B theory suggests that all moments of time exist together in a single, unchanging whole. In this view, the past is not gone. It is still there, as real as the present, just as fixed, just as permanent. You may no longer experience the past, but it still exists, like a page in a book that has already been read. The events are fixed, unchanging, part of the timeless structure of the universe. And the future is not unknown, not waiting to unfold. According to the B theory, the future already exists, just as the past and present do. The future is not a place we are moving toward. It is just another part of the landscape, already laid out, waiting for us to experience it when the moment arrives. The B theory also challenges our understanding of change. We think of time as moving forward, with each moment following the one before it, each moment different from the last. But in the B theory, all moments exist together, timelessly. Change is not something that happens in time. It is part of how we experience the landscape of time. This view can be freeing. If all moments are equally real, if the past and future are just as fixed as the present, then there is no need to rush through time. There is no need to hurry. You are not moving towards some future moment. You are simply part of the timeless landscape, unfolding as you experience each moment. As you rest here, in the stillness, think of the moments in your life. They are not lost, not gone. They are still part of the landscape. Every moment you have lived, every memory you carry, is just as real as the present moment you are experiencing. The past is not gone. It is simply there, fixed in time. In sleep, the landscape of time stretches even further. The boundaries between past, present, and future blur. You drift between moments, between memories, between dreams. All of time exists, not as a flow, but as a stillness, a whole, where each moment is just another part of the unchanging whole. Let go of the need to grasp time, to hold on to the fleeting present. Time, as you experience it, is not moving. It is already there, laid out, complete. You are simply experiencing it as you move through it. In this stillness, you are not bound by time. You are part of it, experiencing each moment, each page of the book. The B theory of time tells us that we are not prisoners of the present. We are part of a vast, timeless structure, where every moment is real, where every event is fixed. You are not moving toward the future. You are already there, already part of the timeless landscape of existence. So as you drift into sleep, remember this: the moments you experience are not fleeting. They are part of the eternal structure of time, part of a reality where past, present, and future all coexist. You are part of that landscape, experiencing it in this moment, timeless and whole. Let go of the pressure to move through time, to hurry toward the future, to cling to the past. Time is not something that passes, it is something you exist within, something you are part of. Rest in the knowledge that all moments are real, all moments are timeless, you are part of the whole. You lie still, feeling the quiet rhythm of your breath, the stillness of the night around you, but as you drift into the calm, a question rises. What if the world you see, the life you live, is not as simple as it appears? What if your existence stretches beyond the moments you experience? This is the essence of four-dimensionalism. The idea that time is not something that passes, but something that exists alongside space as a fourth dimension. In this view, you are not just a collection of moments moving through time. You are a being that exists fully across time, a part of a vast, unfolding reality. Imagine for a moment that your life is not just a sequence of moments one after another, but a whole. Your past, present, and future all exist at once, like frames in a movie, each part of you fixed in its place. You are not just moving through time, you are spread across it, a being existing in the fullness of all time. In four-dimensionalism, the world is a four-dimensional block, a block of space-time. You too are part of this block. Your body exists at each point in time, just as it exists in each point in space. Your existence is not a journey from one moment to the next, but an entire block of moments, all coexisting in a larger, unchanging reality. Think of a loaf of bread, sliced into thin, even pieces. Each slice is a moment in time. The whole loaf represents your entire existence, your past, your present, your future, each part of you, fixed in its place. Every slice of time is real. It is not something that passes, but something that is. You are the loaf, the whole, spread across the dimensions of space and time. This view of reality suggests that time is not an empty space through which we move. It is not a river that flows forward, always moving, always changing. Instead, time is a dimension, just like space. It exists as a whole, and every moment, every event is fixed within that dimension. Your life is not a sequence of events, it is a collection of events, each one equally real. Four-dimensionalism asks us to think of ourselves not as beings moving through time, but as beings existing within time. We are not just participants in the flow of life, we are the entire flow, spread across all time, from the beginning to the end, each moment of us real and permanent in the block of existence. In this view, death is not an end, but simply another part of the block. The past does not fade. It exists just as the future does, equally real, equally fixed. You do not vanish when you die. You continue to exist, a part of the whole, as real as you are now, as real as you ever were. This can be a comforting thought. If your existence stretches across time, then you are never truly gone. Your past, your future, your entire being exists as part of the unchanging block of time. The moment you experience is just one slice of your entire existence, and that slice is always there, always real, always a part of you. Think of the memories you carry. They are not just fleeting impressions, they are fixed moments in time, part of your whole existence. They are not gone, lost in the flow of time. They are there, existing alongside the present moment, real and unchanging, just as your future will be. The idea of four-dimensionalism invites us to see life differently. We are not just moving forward in time, leaving the past behind. We are spread across time, each moment of our life equally real, equally present. The moments we experience now are not more real than the moments we have lived or the ones yet to come. As you lie here, drifting into sleep, imagine your life as a whole. See yourself not as a fleeting moment, but as an entire existence spread across the dimensions of time. The past, the present, and the future all exist together, forming the complete picture of who you are. You are not just moving through time, you are timeless. In sleep, the boundaries between past, present, and future fade. You drift through them, moving between the slices of your existence, feeling the whole of who you are. You are not confined to a single moment, you are part of a larger reality, where every moment of you exists, unchanging, eternal, and real. Let go of the need to hold on to the fleeting moment. You are more than this moment, you are the entire loaf, the whole existence, spread across time. Every part of you, every slice of your life is equally real. You are timeless, existing fully in every dimension of your being. So as you rest, let the flow of time fade into the background. Know that you are not just a passing moment, you are an eternal being, spread across time, fully real. In every slice, you are not defined by the fleeting present, but by the whole of who you are, existing in the fullness of time. You lie back, feeling the stillness of the night wrap around you. The world is filled with abstract concepts, numbers, ideas, shapes, all things that seem to exist in their own right. But where do these concepts live? Are they real in the way objects are real, or are they simply names we give to things? This is the heart of nominalism, the belief that abstract objects like numbers, properties, or categories do not exist independently of us. In this view, these concepts are not real things in themselves. They are simply names, labels, that we assign to groups of things in the world to help us make sense of what we see. Imagine a tree in the forest. We call it a tree because it shares certain characteristics with other trees. But according to nominalism, the concept of tree is not something that exists outside of our minds. It is just a word, a label, a way of grouping certain objects together. The label tree does not exist independently. It is something we create. Numbers, too, are abstract objects. You think of the number 3. But what is the essence of 3? 3 is not a physical thing you can touch or see. It does not exist as an independent object. 3 is simply a concept, a name we give to the grouping of 3 objects. Without objects, there is no 3. Under nominalism, even abstract qualities like redness or roundness do not exist as independent entities. These qualities are only descriptions of things that we perceive. The redness of an apple is not something that exists apart from the apple. Redness is just a label we give to the experience of seeing something with that color. This idea challenges our everyday understanding of the world. We often think of abstract concepts as real, independent entities. But nominalism asks us to consider that these ideas do not have existence outside of our minds. They are not things in themselves. They are just names, labels, and categories that we create to organize our perceptions. Even categories like animal or plant are not real in themselves. They are simply labels that group together certain characteristics we observe in nature. The boundary between what is an animal and what is not something that exists in nature. It is a concept we impose on the world, shaped by our observations. This view forces us to reconsider how we think about the world. If abstract objects do not exist independently, then what is real? What is it that gives the world meaning? Nominalism suggests that meaning comes from the way we label and group things. It is not intrinsic to the objects themselves. The world is as we name it. In this view, reality is not divided into fixed categories. It is fluid, shaped by our experience, our labels, and our concepts. The things we see, the objects we interact with, are not bound by unchanging categories. They are flexible, changing, always subject to the way we perceive and name them. Think of language itself. It is full of names, labels, and categories that we use to understand the world. But those words are not the world. They are tools created by us to navigate our experience. Words like chair, cloud, and mountain are not the things themselves. They are just names we use to group certain things together. Under nominalism, we are not discovering the true nature of reality. We are creating it, shaping it with our labels, our concepts, and our words. We do not find meaning in the world. We assign meaning to it, organizing our experiences in ways that make sense to us. The world is not as it is as we name it. So as you rest here, drifting towards sleep, consider this: the concepts you carry with you, the labels, the names, the categories, are not as fixed as they seem. They are not separate from you. They are creations of your mind, shaped by the way you perceive the world. You are not merely discovering reality, you are creating it. In sleep, the boundaries of concepts may dissolve. You slip between states, between ideas, between labels. The distinctions you carry through waking life, between you and the world, between objects and ideas, fade away. You rest in the fluidity of perception, where nothing is fixed and everything is subject to your mind's gentle creation. Let go of the need to hold on to fixed ideas, to cling to labels and categories. The world is not made of things as we understand them. It is made of perceptions, of experiences, of names that we assign to the unfolding world. Reality is not a fixed place. It is an ever-shifting landscape shaped by our consciousness. In the quiet of sleep, you are free from the need to categorize, to define, to label. The world becomes an open space, full of possibility, full of change. You no longer need to hold on to the fixed ideas of who you are or what you are. You simply exist in the flow, free from the constraints of language and thought. So rest now, knowing that the world around you, the concepts you carry with you, are not as fixed as they seem. You are not bound by the labels you have created. You are part of a world that is always shifting, always changing, always fluid. Let go of the need to define and simply be. You lie still, feeling the quiet flow of your breath. The world around you is calm, yet there's a subtle, unspoken mystery in the air. What if the reality you experience is not as fixed as it seems? What if the very act of observing changes the world around you? This is the essence of quantum decoherence and the observer effect, two strange concepts that suggest reality is not as simple as we think. According to quantum theory, the world at its smallest scales is filled with possibilities, with particles existing in multiple states at once until something or someone observes them. Imagine a particle in a state of uncertainty. It is not just in one place, but in many, moving between possibilities, suspended in the vast ocean of potential. It is only when the particle is observed that it settles, that it chooses its position, its state, its reality. Before that moment, it exists in many forms, all at once. This is the heart of the observer effect. It is not just that we see the world. Our observation shapes it. The very act of looking at something, measuring it, changes it. The possibilities collapse, the wave becomes a particle, and what was once uncertain becomes real, tangible, solid. You, the observer, are not passive. You are an active participant in the creation of reality. Quantum decoherence takes this idea further. It suggests that the quantum state, the realm of possibilities, exists in parallel, constantly interacting. But once we measure or observe, the superposition of possibilities breaks down. The world becomes definite, fixed, in a process of decoherence. The universe shifts from a state of potential to one of actuality. But what if this act of observation is more than just a mechanical process? What if it is not simply the measurement that collapses the wave, but the conscious observer, the mind itself, that plays a role in shaping the outcome? Is it possible that our consciousness, our awareness, is more intertwined with reality than we can imagine? The idea that observation creates reality is both disorienting and fascinating. If everything exists in a cloud of possibilities until it is observed, then what happens to the world when we are not looking at it? Does it exist at all? Or does the world only truly come into being when we turn our attention to it, when we look and become aware? This is where the mystery deepens. The observer effect tells us that reality is not fixed. It is a fluid, dynamic process shaped by the presence of consciousness itself. The world is not a static thing, waiting to be discovered. It is alive, changing, and unfolding based on our perceptions, our actions, and our awareness. Think about the light you see in the room. Is it truly there when you're not looking? When you turn your head, does the world remain in its state, or does it shift and change, waiting for your attention to bring it into being? The observer effect suggests that the world is not simply a backdrop to your experience. It is a co-creation between you and the universe itself. And in sleep, the world around you becomes even more fluid. The boundary between observer and observed fades. The act of observation slips into the background, and you drift between possibilities, between states of awareness. The very nature of reality seems to shift, like a dream where everything is both real and not real at once. In that space, where the mind is not fully awake, the rules of classical physics seem to dissolve. The world becomes more malleable, more like the quantum world, where possibilities exist alongside certainty. Sleep is a realm where observation and reality merge, where the boundaries between what is and what could be are soft, delicate, and ever-shifting. What does this mean for you, for your experience of the world? Perhaps it suggests that you are not merely a passive observer of reality. You are a participant, shaping it with every thought, every glance, every breath. Your awareness is not separate from the world. It is an integral part of the unfolding of reality itself. So as you rest, think of this: the world you experience is not as fixed as it appears. It is shaped by your presence, your observation, your consciousness. You are not just living in a world that is separate from you. You are a part of it, participating in the creation of it, moment by moment. In sleep, let go of the need to understand, to control, to observe. Allow yourself to slip into the fluidity of existence, where the boundaries between observer and world dissolve. Rest in the knowledge that you are not separate from the universe. You are a part of it, shaping it, participating in the unfolding of every moment. Time slips away in the quiet of sleep. The act of observation becomes softer, gentler. The world around you exists, not as a fixed thing, but as a wave of possibilities, waiting for you to return and observe once again. In this space, all things are possible. All things exist, waiting for the observer to bring them into being. Let go of the world for now. Let go of the need to measure, to observe, to control. Sleep is the space where the observer effect fades, where the boundaries between you and the world blur. You are free to float between possibilities, free to experience the world as both real and imagined, all at once. As you drift deeper into rest, remember, you are not a passive observer. You are a participant in the unfolding of reality. And in this moment, as you slip into sleep, you are not just experiencing the world. You are co-creating it, shaping it with your awareness, your consciousness, your very being. You rest, the stillness of the night surrounding you, as thoughts drift softly in and out. But what if existence itself could be argued, could be proven, through thought alone? What if through the act of reasoning, we could come to understand the very nature of being, the essence of existence itself? This is the heart of the ontological argument, a philosophical idea that asks, does the concept of something mean that it must exist? It suggests that by thinking about the idea of a perfect being, a necessary existence, we can prove that such a being must exist in reality. But is that possible? Can thought alone create existence? Imagine for a moment a perfect being, a being that has all the qualities we consider perfect, omniscient, omnipotent, and importantly necessary. A being whose existence is not contingent, not dependent on anything else, but one whose very essence requires existence. Can such a being exist only in the mind, or must it exist in reality? According to the ontological argument, if we can conceive of such a being, then it must exist. Why? Because existence is part of perfection. A perfect being, by definition, cannot lack existence. If it did, it would not be perfect. The act of conceiving of perfection itself implies that perfection exists. This is the core of the ontological argument. If you can imagine a being that is perfectly necessary, then that being must exist in reality. Existence is a quality of perfection. Without existence, perfection would be incomplete, imperfect. So by thinking about it, you are already bringing this perfect being into being. But how do we reconcile this idea with the world we know? If the mere concept of something can prove its existence, then why do we not see perfect beings everywhere? How can we apply this reasoning to the world around us, to objects and beings that we interact with every day? The answer, according to the ontological argument, lies in the nature of perfection itself. Perfection is not just a quality we attribute to things in the world. It is a concept, an ideal that exists outside of time and space, beyond our normal understanding. It is not subject to the limitations of the world we live in. In this view, thinking about a perfect being, whether you call it God or something else, brings it into existence in a different way. It is not the physical existence we are familiar with, but an existence that transcends time, space, and matter. It exists as an idea, but that idea is so powerful, so perfect, that it must manifest in reality. This argument is not without its critics. How can something exist purely because we conceive of it? Isn't existence something more than just a mental concept? Does a perfect being really have to exist because we think it does? Can thought alone create reality, or does existence require more than just thought? These are the questions that challenge the ontological argument. They ask us to consider whether thought and existence are truly intertwined. Can the mind create the world, or is the mind simply a tool for perceiving a world that already exists, independent of our thoughts about it? As you rest here, let go of the need for answers. The ontological argument invites us to ponder the very nature of existence. It asks us to consider whether thought can create reality, whether our conceptions shape the world around us. But in this moment, you do not need to answer. Just let the thoughts pass by, like clouds in the sky. In sleep, the boundaries between thought and reality may blur. The world of ideas and the world of experience may merge, like two rivers flowing into one. Just as the ontological argument asks us to consider the nature of existence itself, sleep invites us to experience existence in a different way, beyond thought, beyond reason, beyond question. The ontological argument reminds us that existence is a complex and elusive concept. It challenges us to think about what it means to be, to exist, to be necessary. But as you drift deeper into rest, let go of the need to understand. Just feel the stillness, the quiet, the presence of being itself. Rest in the knowledge that existence is a mystery, something beyond full comprehension. The perfect being, the essence of existence, these are ideas that we reach for, but cannot fully grasp. And yet, even without the answers, we exist, here and now, in the stillness of the moment. So as you drift towards sleep, let the ontological argument fade into the background. There is no need to prove or disprove existence, simply be. In this moment, you exist, and that is enough. The mysteries of existence will remain, but you need not chase them. Simply rest, knowing that you are part of the great unfolding of reality. You lie in stillness, the weight of the world fading, as you settle into the quiet of the night. You think of all the objects around you, the people you know, the things you touch. But what makes one thing different from another? What is it that makes two things distinct from each other? This is the puzzle of the indiscernibility of identicals, a concept that challenges our understanding of identity. It suggests that if two objects are truly identical, if they share all the same properties, the same qualities, then they are not really two objects at all. They are one and the same, indistinguishable from each other. Imagine for a moment two chairs that are exactly the same color, the same shape, the same material. If there is nothing that differentiates them, then how can they be considered two separate things? According to the indiscernibility of identicals, they are not separate at all. They are the same thing, experienced twice. This idea asks us to consider the nature of identity. How do we distinguish one thing from another? What is it that makes you you and not someone else? Is it the sum of your properties, the way you look, the way you think, or is there something more, something beyond these properties that makes you unique? If two things are identical in every way, then according to this principle, they are the same. The difference between them is not in their properties, but in the way we experience them. The idea of separate objects, of distinct identities, is something we create through perception, not through any inherent difference in the things themselves. This principle can be disorienting. We live in a world where things seem distinct, separate, and individual. But what if that distinction is just an illusion? What if the very idea of individuality, of separateness, is something our minds create, something that doesn't really exist in the world as it is? The indiscernibility of identicals invites us to think differently about the world. It asks us to consider that identity is not something fixed, something intrinsic to objects. It is something we impose, something that emerges from the way we perceive and categorize the world. In reality, things may be more fluid, more interconnected than we imagine. Consider your own identity. What makes you you? Is it the sum of your experiences, your thoughts, your memories? If everything about you, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you look, could be replicated exactly, would you still be you? Would you still be an individual? Or would you be indistinguishable from another? In the same way, the world around you is not made up of fixed, separate objects. The things you see, the things you touch, are all interconnected, part of a larger whole. The boundaries between them are not as clear-cut as we might think. The world is a flow of experiences, not a collection of distinct, isolated entities. As you rest, think of the things around you. The chair you sit in, the sounds you hear, the thoughts you think, are they truly separate, or are they part of a larger tapestry, woven together by your perception, by your mind? The boundaries between things fade, and what remains is the experience itself. In sleep, these boundaries dissolve even further. The world around you becomes a fluid, dreamlike space where nothing is fixed, nothing is separate, everything is part of the same flow, the same experience. You are not defined by the things around you. You are part of the flow of consciousness, interconnected, undivided. Let go of the need to distinguish, to separate. The indiscernibility of identicals teaches us that identity is not something rigid, it is something fluid, something shaped by perception and experience. You are not a fixed object in the world. You are part of it, connected to everything in a constant flow of becoming. As you drift deeper into rest, feel the world soften around you. The distinctions between things blur, and you are no longer separated from the world. You are one with it, a part of the vast, interconnected whole. There is no need to grasp at identity. You are already whole, already part of the flow. Sleep, too, is part of this flow. It is not separate from the waking world. In sleep, the boundaries between you and the world fade, and you become part of the larger experience, part of the dream, part of the whole. There is no distinction between you and the world around you. You are one, and as you rest, know this: the world is not made of fixed identities. It is made of experiences, of perceptions, of connections. You are not separate from it. You are part of it, flowing with it, becoming it. Let go of the need to distinguish, and simply be part of the larger whole. In the stillness of sleep, let the distinctions dissolve. Feel yourself merge with the world, with the flow of experience, where identity is not fixed, but fluid. You are not separate. You are part of the unfolding, part of the whole, part of the experience of being. And in that, you are complete. Somewhere in the strange and uncharted territories of physics, there exists a class of particles that defy the rules we know. These particles, called tachyons, travel faster than light, slipping through the fabric of space and time like shadows. They exist on the edge of our understanding, suggesting that the limits of reality may be more fluid than we realize. Tachyons, if they exist, break the conventional understanding of speed. In the world of particles, the speed of light is the ultimate barrier, the highest speed that anything can achieve. But tachyons, by their very nature, are supposed to exceed this limit, darting through space at unimaginable speeds. This breaks one of the cornerstones of modern physics, the theory of relativity. The concept of tachyons comes from theoretical physics, where particles are often described by equations that explore all possibilities, even the most bizarre, In this mathematical landscape, particles can exist that travel faster than light, and tachyons are the theoretical result of this exploration. They exist as a solution to the equations, showing that speed itself might not be as fixed as we think. Tachyons are often thought of as imaginary particles, abstract constructs that live within mathematical models, but may never exist in the physical world. Their existence challenges the very notion of causality. If these particles can travel faster than light, they could move backward in time, creating paradoxes that unravel the direction of cause and effect. But despite their theoretical nature, tachyons raise important questions about the structure of space and time. Could there be regions of space where tachyons exist, slipping through the gaps of reality as we know it? If tachyons do exist, they could unlock entirely new layers of understanding about how the universe operates, beyond our current frame of reference. One intriguing idea is that tachyons could provide a window into understanding the nature of time itself. If these particles can move faster than light, they might not be bound by the same temporal rules that govern slower-moving particles. Could they travel backward, revisiting past events, or could they slip into the future, living outside the constraints of our linear time? If tachyons could move backward through time, they might offer a glimpse into the possibility of time travel. But even as this possibility intrigues the imagination, it also brings with it a torrent of paradoxes. Could something travel back in time without disturbing the timeline? Or would their mere existence cause ripples, altering the course of events? There is another theory, one that suggests that tachyons are not just particles of light speed breaking speed, but could be the key to unlocking the nature of dark matter and dark energy. If tachyons exist and they influence the universe in ways we can't see, they might explain the unseen forces that drive the expansion of the universe. They could be a hidden link between the known and the unknown. Despite the challenges posed by tachyons, they continue to be a source of fascination for physicists. Some believe that their existence could explain certain phenomena that are difficult to understand with our current models, such as the mysterious behavior of particles in high-energy environments, or the strange dynamics of quantum fields. In this sense, tachyons are more than theoretical curiosities. They may be the missing piece in understanding the most fundamental aspects of the universe. As abstract as tachyons may seem, their very nature forces us to reconsider the limitations of speed, space, and time. If such particles can exist in the fabric of reality, then perhaps there are more aspects of the universe that we cannot yet perceive. We might be standing on the edge of a deeper, more complex reality, one where the boundaries we have so carefully defined are only the beginning. One of the most tantalizing questions raised by tachyons is whether they could be detected. If tachyons do exist, could we observe their effects in the real world, or are they too fast, too elusive, to ever be directly measured? Even if they remain undetectable, their presence could still be inferred through their impact on the particles we do observe, perhaps revealing new layers of the quantum world. The search for tachyons is not just about proving their existence, it's about stretching the limits of our imagination, about opening the door to possibilities that seem beyond reach. Theoretical particles like tachyons challenge our assumptions, pushing us to question the very fabric of space-time and the rules that govern it. They invite us to think in ways we have never thought before. But even as we explore the potential for tachyons, we are reminded of the limitations of our current understanding. The more we learn, the more we realize how much there is left to discover. Tachyons may exist only in the realm of theoretical physics, but their implications stretch far beyond that, urging us to look deeper, think bigger, and explore the unknown. Whether tachyons are real or just a product of mathematical models, their presence in the conversation of physics reminds us that the universe is still full of mysteries. The possibility of faster-than-light particles is just one example of the cosmic enigma that continues to unfold before us, urging us to embrace the unknown and pursue the questions that drive us forward. There is a place in the depths of quantum mechanics where the arrow of time seems to bend, where cause and effect no longer follow their usual path. This is the strange realm of retrocausality, a theory that suggests events in the future can influence the past, turning everything we understand about time on its head. In our everyday experience, time moves forward. The past is fixed, the present is fleeting, and the future is a distant, unknown horizon. We are bound by this progression, unable to reverse the flow. But retrocausality challenges this simple notion, proposing that the future might not be as far away as we think. It suggests that, under certain conditions, the future can reach back and shape the past. This idea seems at odds with everything we know. How can an event in the future affect something that has already happened? How could a cause originate from something that is yet to occur? Retrocausality raises questions that seem to unravel the very fabric of reality, questioning the flow of time itself. The seeds of this theory are sown in the quantum world, where particles can exist in multiple states at once, and their behavior seems to defy the predictable laws of classical physics. In this strange realm, particles can be influenced by actions taken in the future, not just the present or the past. It's as though the boundaries of time become porous, allowing events to ripple across its surface. One of the most intriguing aspects of retrocausality is its connection to quantum entanglement. In this phenomenon, particles become linked, such that the state of one particle instantly affects the state of another, no matter the distance between them. Some interpretations suggest that this instantaneous connection might not be confined to the present, but could be a result of influences that span both directions in time. The idea that the future can influence the past is not just a curiosity, it has profound implications for our understanding of free will and determinism. If the future can reach back to the past, how do we reconcile our sense of agency? Are we truly making choices, or are those choices influenced by future events we have yet to experience? In the world of retrocausality, the past and future are not as separate as we assume. Instead, they may be part of a more complex, interconnected whole, where the distinctions between cause and effect become blurred. This perspective invites us to reconsider our understanding of time, space, and the very nature of reality. What if in some sense the future is already written, influencing the present as much as the past? Could the events that we think of as inevitable have been shaped long before we made our decisions? Retrocausality offers a haunting and beautiful possibility, one where time is not a one-way street, but a tangled web, where the future and past meet and intertwine. In experiments involving quantum particles, certain outcomes seem to depend not just on what happens in the present, but also on what might happen in the future. This has led some scientists to speculate that the very act of measurement in quantum experiments could be influenced by future events, suggesting that time itself might not be as rigid as we once thought. If this is true, then our understanding of causality, of how events unfold and influence one another, would need to be rewritten. The familiar cause and effect relationships we depend on might only be part of a much larger, more fluid picture, where time itself bends and twists in ways that we are only beginning to comprehend. Yet the concept of retrocausality is not without its challenges. It conflicts with our most deeply held intuitions about the world. If the future can affect the past, what does that say about the nature of time travel? Can we change the past, or is it forever tied to the future in a loop of influence? Despite these paradoxes, retrocausality provides a rich field of inquiry for physicists and philosophers alike. It forces us to confront the limitations of our understanding and stretch the boundaries of what we think is possible. Could time be more than a simple sequence of events, more than a straight line from past to present to future? In many ways, retrocausality invites us to embrace the mystery, to accept that time may not be as simple or as linear as we once believed. It challenges us to rethink the very foundations of reality, to entertain the idea that the future and the past might be inextricably linked in ways that we can't yet understand. As we explore these ideas, we are reminded that the universe is full of surprises, that the rules we live by are far more malleable than we realize. Retrocausality, like so many other ideas in the realm of quantum mechanics, shows us that there is still so much to discover, so much that lies just beyond the horizon of our current knowledge.